Chapter 53:10. Countless long swords that radiated light rose into the air to accompany the golden long sword. Elder 9 swords on the side, and even the palace master of Shangqing raised one hand one after another. A ray of sword light burst out and rushed to the top of the mountain. In a short while, 109,000 swords of the Shangqing palace gathered on the top of the mountain. Sword chi condensed, turned into tide, and swept from the top of the mountain. It was Jian Wushuang that he was very knowledgeable and shocked when he saw this twilight. He couldn't help but want to dive with the sword tide. Staring at the sword tide, the origins of various types of kendo suddenly appeared. Jian Wushuang carefully studied in order to get some help. The entire sword tide lasted for an hour, and the time was very short, but it was of extraordinary significance. It helped the sword repairmen who came here, and showed the power of the Shangqing palace. It is indeed strong enough. Among those sword lights, Jian Wushuang can see that there are at least 19 swords that are the origin of the Fifth Order Emperor. Of course, depending on the strength of the origin, it should be comparable to the origin of the Fourth Order Emperor outside. There are only 2 of the Sixth Order Emperors, which are the source of the swordsmanship of the Shangqing Palace Master and the Shangqing Ancestor. There are more Fourth Order Emperors, hundreds of them. The Third Order Emperor has passed thousands. One case is comparable to a universe. While Jian Wushuang shook the foundation of Qishan Temple, he also felt sad. The origins of these practitioners are flawed and too weak. It is one level worse than the Emperor outside, and may only be half worse in combat power. But the upper limit is much worse. It's no wonder that the importance of an ultimate emperor surpasses the sum of the native practitioners of the 4 secret realms. If the ultimate emperor had stepped into the 6th rank, he might be able to slaughter the entire 4 secret realms by himself. Even the special life in the tomb of the gods can't stop it. Here is the ultimate power. The sword tide ended. Jian Wushuang stood up, and was still unfinished. In terms of origin, he doesn't need to learn from, but in terms of sword intent, he still has a lot to learn. Friends of Wushuang Daoist, if the sword tide is over, you are interested in participating in the sword match? Elder Jujin asked. Then sword? When the tide of swords in the Shangqing Palace ends, 13 arenas will be set up on the lake, and the contemporary 13 swords of the Shangqing Palace will personally guard the ring. To be able to become a descendant of Teia's sword in Shangqing Palace, they are not ordinary people, and their strength is comparable to that of the emperor. The leader of the 13 people has a record of defeating the emperor. Although not as good as Nie Yuan back then, it was enough to Megatron Liuzhou. Oh, then I have to learn something later. Jian Wushuang replied. He is not in a hurry, although there are only 2 days. 1 day has now passed. The strong are only in a flash, wait and see. There is still time for him to shoot. After the palace lord of Shangqing nodded with some elders, Elder Jiujian got up and presided over. Everyone, here are 13 golden swords. Each golden sword has the origin of the kendo left by the ancestor of the Shangqing dynasty. Whoever can win a ring can get a golden sword. When Elder 9 Swords finished speaking, he threw 13 golden swords into the air and suspended them above the lake. Golden sword. Many Jianxiu looked at those golden swords with fiery eyes. The original kendo of Shangqing Patriarch. If you can get one, and you can benefit from it carefully, even if you don't have to rely on this golden sword, you can exchange countless treasures that can improve yourself. Once there was a Sanxiu who won a golden sword, and was specially invited by the Shangqing Palace to enter the corps as a succession disciple. His status was the same as that of the 13 Taijian. There was also a Taoist monarch from a small sect who won the golden sword, auctioned it on the spot, and sold it for an astronomical price of 100,000 sacred stones. 100,000 sacred stones are comparable to the wealth of some emperors. Everyone held their breath and waited for the golden sword to fall into place. Many Taoists were gearing up to give it a try. At this time, 13 arenas have also risen on the surface of the lake, and a sword-bearer, male and female, stands above each. These people are the descendants of Taijian. Taijian was not created by the ancestor of the Shangqing dynasty, but by a disciple of the ancestor of the Shangqing dynasty. The disciple who created the Taijian at the time created this kind of genius when he was a fourth-order emperor. It can allow Daojun to perfectly display his full strength, and even have such heaven-defying methods as amplifying his origin. It's a pity that he died young, and not long after he became a fourth-order emperor he fell. At the beginning, the ancestor of the Shangqing dynasty was extremely furious, and a sword of cold light shocked the entire northern realm, and killed 16 emperors related to this matter overnight. 4 of them are fifth-order emperors. These people are not ordinary emperors, they have sects behind them, but they are shocked that no sect dared to come forward for them, and they didn't even dare to collect the corpses. It is precisely because of this shot that the ancestor of the Shangqing dynasty is famous in the secret realm of heaven. Taishu Gate, Han Wuxian challenges the 7th Taijian. Ha! A Taoist sitting in the 3rd row rose to the sky and fell directly onto the 7th ring. His strength is only about half a step from the emperor. It is difficult to win the golden sword. At the same time, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place immediately stood out 13 powerful Taoists. The weakest is the peak Daojun. Jian Wushuang glanced at him. This was the strongest among the 13 people, and he had no hope of winning the golden sword. The original kendo of the 6th-order emperor. He was also very excited about this opportunity. The 13 Taie swords of the Shangqing Palace were very powerful, but their origins were a bit weak. In comparison, the strength of the source is as strong as the Taoist monarch of the primitive universe. In terms of combat power, it is comparable to native monarchs, but not comparable to external monarchs. In contrast, in general, the stronger than the outside world are half a step ahead. The half-step emperor here may only have the power of the Taoist of the primitive universe. Those who are comparable to the emperor can have half a step, and those who defeat the emperor have the power of the emperor. Probably so. But if there is no opportunity for this temple of the gods, I am afraid that the Dayan immortal of the primitive universe will be the strongest and comparable to the emperor, and can be comparable to the Tianjiao among these aboriginals. But this is just an ancient sect. The 4 great secret realms are so vast. This is just a sect of Tianjiao, and the quality of it is really to be compared, and the original universe can't match it. But now that there is a chance for the Temple of Qixin, it is hard to say. Just talk about the Dayanxian he saw. Wan Xing, Hui Qing, Ji Chaoyang, and himself are much better than the 13 Taijian. Ji Chaoyang's 9th turn has the power of the Taoist monarch, which will directly rival the emperor when he reaches consummation. In the 4 secret realms, they have the power to kill ordinary emperors. And now Jian Wushuang, even if he didn't have the 9th rank consummation, he could still kill the native emperor. These 13 Taie swords, except for the sword chief, he was confident that he would defeat within 3 strokes. It was the strength of the sword chief that he couldn't see through. The divine body is very strong, and the basic divine body must surpass him, but I don't know if it has reached 10,000 times the level. The origin is SOSO, only the ordinary 2nd grade origin. The 13 players who played this time lost very quickly. If it weren't for these young masters to save some face, I'm afraid they would have to lose if they met each other. TXT download address, phone reading. Chapter 53:11. The people present didn't care too much. The defeat of these 13ths is also expected, and it would be strange if whoever wins. How could the Daozi of the Shangqing Palace be defeated so easily? Every time after watching the tide, only 1 or 2 can successfully win the sword. Like the Taya sword of Nie Yuan's generation, he has not failed for 7 consecutive times of watching the tide. In the end, he attracted the super emperor from the ancient land of Zhongzhou to come and fought with Nie Yuan. In the end, it was only a tie. For the sake of the dignity of the other party, he gave the golden sword to the other party. Jian Wushuang had already got up, stood at the railing, and scanned Taie Jianzi on the ring. Although there is a lot of difference with him in origin, many ancient swordsmanship, Jian Wushuang have never seen before, and I took the opportunity to observe them. The mystery in it is very delicate, but it is a pity that the source of the practitioners used is too weak to be fully utilized. Jian Wushuang's eyes were hot, and he secretly said in his heart, as expected of the ancient sect, Taya sword is indeed a rare top-level swordsmanship, which is very suitable for Taoist cultivation. Based on the origin of these people, it is extremely difficult to become a Taoist if you are in the outside world. But after practicing Taya sword, you can become strong like this. Swordsmanship is great, blending elements into one. The sword intent contained in each sword was very powerful, much stronger than the sword intent he had seen. This is a kendo practitioner. A man is like a sword, his heart is like a sword, and his shape is better than a sword. Unfortunately, there are some flaws in the source. Although the origin of the Temple of Chishan is stronger, it is stronger than the origin of the original universe, but it is far too complicated after all. Not suitable for kendo. If it is the Wandao school, it is very popular in the 4 secret realms. Unfortunately, he has not seen any relevant records so far. In the first round, Tai Jian wins. Elder 9 Swords said loudly. All 13 challengers were injured. They either conceded defeat or were knocked out of the ring. When they returned to their positions, the Shangqing Palace would send stones to help them recover from their injuries. This point has encouraged many people to challenge. Of course, ordinary Taoists will naturally not go up and be embarrassed. Soon, after more than a dozen rounds of challenges, strong players began to play. Tiananmen I Wish Bacha challenged the 13th sword. The human voice is like Hong Zhong, embodies the bloated full-face flesh, and the suffocation in the whole body is extremely strong. It is a man in the magic door. Many people trembled when they heard the demon gate. It was a super sect that was no less than the Shangqing Palace, and it was the top 3 major demon sect in the Northern Territory. Zhu Bacha is a very powerful demon in the contemporary Tianma sect, and in the future is also a giant of the magic way. Looking at his size, most people really can't see that he is practicing kendo. Boom! Slowly stepping from the second row. I wish Bacchus' body is huge. The physical body is naturally a perfect state, and the divine body is more than 8,000 times. That is, the origin of kendo is a little weaker. Jian Wushuang's eyes were deep. This person was qualified to challenge the 13 Tai Ajian, and the challenge was still the weakest person among the 13 Tai Ajian. This made him a little surprised. He didn't even see it thoroughly. Except for the leader, the other 12 swords have the same aura. It is too difficult for the same rank to see the origin of the other party. Not everyone has the same power of mind. As powerful. Turning his gaze, he looked at the young man with white hair just like himself. I understood in my heart. It was the voice of the 5th Order Emperor of Demon Dao who told Zhu Bacha that he was the weakest and challenged him. After the previous rounds of challenges, 13 Tai Jian more or less leaked some strength. How can the Emperor's eyesight fail to see who is strong and who is weak? Even if the lake water is full of sword intent and origin, the spatial origin of the Emperor's grasp can also push away these mixed sword intent and see the essence of it. Zhu Baca's appearance has made many people move forward. After all, it is a peak battle of the same tier. In this round, in addition to this demon giant, there is also a Dayan immortal, who is comparable to the Emperor, whose background is generally not noticed by many people. Except for these two, the rest are all half-step emperors. Qiu Huang didn't catch a cold with these, so he chatted with the palace lord of Shangqing a few words. About the Yuan Lao Palace, he closed his eyes again to rest up his mind, and he really looked like a worldly expert. However, in secret, it has been transmitting Jian Wushuang's voice. Boy, you can bear this. But that is the original swordsmanship of the ancestor of the Shangqing dynasty, so you are not afraid that others will take it first. Jian Wushuang didn't look back, still staring at 13 Tai Ajian, but silently said in his heart, "Wait a second, the kendo has the only origin. Just get a wisp. There is no need to be too ostentatious." He is not sure. These 13 strands of golden swords have different kendo origins. Thanks, Tusk. If I tell you that the origins of these 13 strands of kendo are different, are you going to end now? Different? The only way of kendo is the purest way of killing and cutting. How can it be inconsistent? It's really different. The ancestor of the Shangqing dynasty followed the 10,000 sword stream, which is very similar to the 10,000 Dao school, not weaker than the ultimate way. Wan Jianlu, Jian Wushuang was a little surprised. Can kendo be practiced like this? How did you know? Jian Wu said in a bilingual and curious voice. The old horned man snorted, and then said, You think the Yuan Lao Palace eats dry food? Even if you are not familiar with these ancient sects, are you still not familiar with these powerful sixth-order emperors? The ordinary sixth order is nothing more. The current Shangqing Palace master's strength is very average. When he was at the fifth-order emperor, it was only the end of the 9 swords. After breaking through the 6th rank, he took the position of the palace lord. I never thought about him at the beginning. Who would think that this servant was only the 6th rank? And even the ancestor of the Qing dynasty was shocked at the beginning. Although the combat power is not strong, it is also a 6th-order emperor anyway. In terms of combat power, it was a fight with the old horned man at the top of Tier 5. For those truly top-ranked 6th-order emperors, the Yuan Lao Palace has just been established and began to study these people. After all, in the future, you must have a sense of measure if you want to solicit or suppress. The 4 secret realms must be integrated and unified sooner or later to restore the glory of the ancients. The current scattered sand has no value, but is still a burden. The White Tiger Palace cannot be suppressed, so the Senate Palace must act. In the Palace of the Elders, there are several fierce 6th-order emperors, no weaker than the White Tiger Palace. Just like Wu Zua, who was once a named disciple of the God of God, his inheritance might be beyond their imagination. Otherwise, he might have died in the secret realm of the earth when he opened up Wasteland. Compared with the earth, the heaven is much more stable. At least the 6th-order emperors are very honest and will not easily provoke the White Tiger Palace. Boy, you don't have much time. You can take advantage of this opportunity. Maybe once you make a move, the Shangqing Palace will see that you are so powerful and will give you some treasures. Jian Wushuang looked surprised and said through the sound transmission, Can you do this? I am a Dayan immortal, so I won't let the ancestor Shangqing treat it like this. What do you know? Even if the ancestor Shangqing doesn't like it, the current palace lord of the Shangqing Palace will give you some benefits. TXT download address. Phone reading. Chapter 53:12. Just think about it too. In the future, these inheritors, after they have settled in the 4 secret realms, will have a very high status. The future will definitely be high level. It is normal for these indigenous emperors to have a cause and effect. He also learned a lot of secret information from the old man Yang Jiao. For example, in the future, they will be named in the Tomb Mountain, and later they will go to the heavens and settle in the White Tiger Palace or the Senate Palace. The potential is unlimited in the future. They are still the first batch of inheritors, and there will be countless inheritors in the future. According to their view, time is unlimited and it will not take long. The entire 4 secret realms belong to their world, and it will not be a problem even to take charge of the Temple of the Gods in the future. Otherwise, why do you recruit so many inheritors? Captive? It is impossible. There will definitely be a purpose behind it. Old chauffeur. I don't know how long he has lived. He has never seen anything in the world. He knows this kind of thing best. There were a lot of bigwigs who gave him a lot of benefits in private and asked him to create all kinds of treasures to stabilize one's power. This can be considered an early investment. Boy, don't look down on the strong, and don't look down on them. Jian Wushuang nodded. Although Tier 6 powerhouses are strong, they also have their own needs. The Temple of Qishan is a true spirit. As a successor, one day they will come into contact with the core level. Now give him some benefits for the inheritance, and what can be counted? And the 6th-order emperor, the shot will not be small. Just take out some good things and let him, the Dayan immortal, benefit infinitely. Here is a secret realm of heaven, retaining the brilliance of the ancients. Absolutely learned mystery, the most precious treasures many are. In particular, Tai Ajian made his eyes hot for the inexperienced knowledge in the Shangqing Palace. The 13 Tai swords who came in, with such strength, have a lot to do with Tai's unique skills. This time, the young master of the Demon Gate came to an end, and Jian Wushuang paid special attention. The battle of these powerful men can test the power of Tai Jian. Boom. Dawn in space. A streamer passed, and the 13 challengers fell into the corresponding ring. Zhu Bacha twisted his body and fell into the 13th ring. I've heard that 13 Jianzi Langfeng's Taijian is exceptionally fierce. Come and ask for advice today. 13 Swordsman Dao No. Chasing the wind. His sword is indeed very powerful on the one hand, but the weakness is that the divine body and the flesh are too weak. Although he has the innate treasure armor, his defense is still his biggest weakness. His swordsmanship is often also very sharp, and he will be in desperation every time. Fortunately, he is very flexible in speed, and his opponent is defeated before he touches his body. Chasing the wind sword. He didn't talk nonsense. The streamer flashed across, and then rushed out, with the narrow-bladed long sword in his hand, instantly pulling out, killing Zhu Bacha. Ha! Zhu Bacha stood still motionless. When the chasing sword rushed in, the magic flame rose up into the sky, and a sharp sword without a front suddenly appeared, directly blocking the chasing sword. Song. One blow was blocked, and the chasing sword quickly returned to the sword, turned around and opened the distance. Zhu Bacha's name, he has heard of it. Although the woofing épée was powerful, it was too cumbersome. As long as he kept harassing around Zhu Bacha, he would naturally let the opponent leak his flaws. Then he would break the defense and defeat Zhu Bacha. Zhu Bacha also understands this idea of his, and he made preparations before going on the court. In the eyes of outsiders, the ring is only tens of miles long and wide, but the inside is a small world with infinite distance. It is the treasure in the palm. It does not limit the performance of practitioners. Can you only run? Faced with the repeated attacks of the wind sword, I swam to and fro, wishing Bacha unmoved. Every time I can withstand it cleverly. Hustling sword raised his brows. The strength of this magic sect giant really surprised him. And the hope of defeating the opponent in this way was too slim. The giant is really strong, but I underestimated it. The wind chase sword is like the wind, floating like the world. In the pavilion of watching tide, many Taoists saw their palms sweating, and they were obviously looking at the fight on the 13th ring. The fighting on the rest of the ring is already lonely at this time, and the fight on the 13th arena has just begun now. Jian Wushuang's hands were itchy when he saw it. The emperor of the demon sect, with a smile on his face, was very confident in this battle. Brother Jiao Jian, look at these two younger generations, who has a better chance of winning. The elder Nine Sword standing in the forefront frowned slightly. This monster giant seemed to have come prepared. Without waiting for him to speak, the great elder of the head of the Nine Swords spoke. Because the Tai Aegean on the field is his registered disciple, once the harmony is successful, he will be his personal disciple in the future. So naturally he has to talk about something now. Friends of the Six Sons, why do you care about winning or losing too much in the competition between juniors? Everything is for competition. The demon giant Six Sons demon, with dark eyes, turned his head to look at the great elder who is the head of the Nine Swords, and said in a vicious voice, "The great elder, what is said is not like this. See the future of martial art." Okay, in that case, it's better to give their heads a nod to see who is the strongest and the weakest of these two juniors. And who is the strongest? The great elder. What is waiting for is this sentence now makes a final decision. The other party came for generations, and they weren't vegetarians, but here was the Shangqing Palace, and the chasing sword was his disciple, and he was more familiar with his strength than anyone else. The two Tier 5 pinnacle emperors got on the bar, and many people looked at this side, obviously waiting for a good show. The people of the demon sect acted unscrupulously, and the words are said to be up to this point. As a decent sect, the Shangqing Palace naturally cannot fall behind. Thanks Tusk, you deserve to be the great elder of the Shangqing Palace, and the exit is refreshing. The giant of the magic path, the Luyang demon master waved his hand, and took out 200,000 sacred stones, floating in front of him, walking in a hurry when he came, and he didn't bring any good things, so let's take advantage of these gods. Under the recommendation, Mimi Reading Gap is really good. It is worth installing one for book friends, and Android and Apple mobile phones support it. 200,000 sacred stones have exceeded the total worth of many third-order emperors. The Grand Elder of the Shangqing Palace was not to be outdone, but what he took out was not a divine time, but a fruit with a smooth surface. This is Kendo Jenghua, a good treasure with a price but no market. Most of the people here are sword repairers. How can you not know these swordsman treasures? And let down a breath of cold for a while. Jian Wushuang was also jealous at the side. The fruit was very attractive to him. The dozens of emperors sitting in the first row, after seeing this scene, also took out some treasures, but the value was average, only about tens of thousands of sacred stones. After all, the two below had little to do with them. These treasures will be kept by Brother Nine Swords. No problem. Elder Nine Swords smiled slightly, although 13 Taijian was their own. But now that they are a notary public, they can't have any favoritism. Dear fellow Taoists, are there any other prizes to be drawn? Chapter 53:13. The Emperor sitting in the back. You look at me and I look at you. Everyone with the discerning eye can see that they are all the big guys sitting in the first row playing. They are not for fun, but for expressing their opinions. One is to support the Demon Gate, and the other is to support the Shangqing Palace. Although the two super sects are not in the same state, they often fight each other. After all, with such a large sect, their horizons are no longer in one city and one state. Said it is the color head. Now the Elder Nine Swords has accumulated millions of sacred stones and many exotic flowers and fruits. The total value is more than 2 million sacred stones. Such a huge bet is already comparable to the wealth of some fourth-order emperors. In the four great secret realms, the fourth-order emperor is also the top powerhouse. The fifth-order emperor is the man of the wind, and the sixth-order emperor is the peak powerhouse who sees the dragon and sees the end, and these talents are the wavers of the heavens. And so on. Just as Elder Nine Swords was preparing to seal the disc, the Taoist Luyang, the Taoist of Demon Tao, interrupted. Why, Brother Luyang, we still have to raise. Elder Jujin smiled. Taoist Luyang slanted his eyebrows and said with contempt, this treasure is not good enough for me. I suggest these two little guys, whoever wins, these treasures go to whom? You should not look down on these treasures. Right. The rest of them froze for a while then laughed. This proposal is good, I support it. The great elders all agreed, and the others naturally had no opinion. 2 million divine stones. If the general fourth-order emperor may still be calling out, but the few fourth-order emperors who can be ranked in the first row, which one is not the backbone of the future of the sect? Each of the strengths can reach the sky, and they all have the peak fourth order. The battle strength of that family is not over 100 million. Who would fancy this treasure? Not to mention those fifth-order emperors. They have already cared about the stone to the point of indifferent. Only some powerful treasures and techniques can attract them. Jian Wushuang was aside, his eyes gleaming, but he didn't dare to show it. The bottom of my heart was secretly shocked. These ancient sects were really rich and powerful. According to his current understanding, the purchasing power of 2 million sacred stones exceeded the net worth of a fourth-order emperor outside. Except for a few heavenly guards, such as Wind and Rain Demon Lord, she has eternal treasures, but there are also relatively poor ones. For example, the Zhen Wuyang he knew, although he didn't know much about it. But from the surface, it could be seen that Zhen Wuyang's net worth could have 2 million sacred stones. The key is that there are many extinct exotic fruit treasures in the outside world, which are rare treasures in ancient civilizations. For example, the source fruit of Kendo. There is no outside world, and there are fruits that are much weaker than this. There are no such magical treasures in the universe, only in the depths of the long river of time and space. But the threshold to go there is the fifth-order emperor, and even the fifth-order emperor may fall. However, in the four secret realms, although the source fruit of Kendo is rare, ordinary emperors can still take it out. After all, it is not extinct. No matter how many billions of years it takes to be born, it will always increase, and the source will reduce its value. A trace of thought, looking around in the world of Shumi. He also wanted to participate in this gambling game at first, But when he heard that the treasures would eventually fall into the hands of the two competing against each other, Jian Wushuang had no interest in this. The main thing is poor. Otherwise I really want to wave my hand and take out some treasures to add to the fun. Jian Wushuang's eyes swept towards the ring, with an inspiration. Elder Nine Swords, please wait a moment. I have a treasure here that can be used as a prize. Wow! With his palm, a dazzling crystal pillar appeared in his hand. This was the treasure that had been exchanged by Qiu Huang to restore its origin, and it was the key treasure needed to restore the ultimate origin. These treasures were not used in the 4 secret realms, and were collected by the 4 halls long ago. Juxian Divine Stone. The palace lord of Shangqing said silently, with a strange color in his eyes. The other 5th Order emperors were shocked when they heard this name. They all knew that Jian Wushuang's background was unusual, and he was a person from the Tomb of the Gods. But they didn't expect that he would be able to take out this long-lost treasure. Jian Wushuang's heart trembled. When he exchanged this treasure with Qiu Huang, he spent 150,000 precious points, which was converted into a sacred stone, at least 300,000. The key is that this treasure has disappeared in the 4 secret realms. Even if you want it, you can't get it. As for its usefulness, it is impossible to find out. In addition to overflowing with the ultimate source, this treasure used to be one of the pieces on a piece of Zhu Xianshi, which can temper the source, and is considered a rare cultivation treasure. For these people, the value of this treasure is more than 500,000 sacred stones. This little friend, such an important treasure, as a lottery, a little wasted, it is better to sell it to the old man. The eyes of the Taoist master Luyang of Demon Dao were hot. This treasure overflowed him greatly. Jian Wushuang shook his head and said faintly, I have neither side of this treasure. I guess they are tied. If you lose, the treasure will be at your disposal. If you win, the rest will go to me, and this treasure will be given to them. Victor among people. Okay, I agree with this proposal. Taoist Luyang directly agreed, although the others are interested in this treasure. They are not as urgent as Luyang. However, Jian Wushuang's identity was special, and there was another impenetrable 5th Order peak emperor beside him. This face was still to be given, and no one opposed him at the moment. As the host of the Shangqing Palace, naturally, there will be no disputes with guests over some trivial matters. Then let's wait and see. Elder Nine Swords smiled slightly. However, looking at Jian Wushuang's figure, there was also a trace of unmoved expression in his eyes. The people of the Tomb of the Gods really have great secrets in them. Extinct treasures can be taken out at hand. It seems that in the 4 great secret realms, the future may not be peaceful. He can be regarded as the top figure in the Shangqing Palace, and he knows more about some secret things than others. The establishment of the Senate Palace and the status of the temple are on the same level. This matter has long been spread. Now the Taoist monarchs on the Tomb God Mountain came to travel, and the powerful emperors from the Yuanlao Palace were accompanied, all of which were warning them that the sky was about to change. In the future, not only the temple will press them, but also the Palace of the Elders, and even the mysterious visitors on the Mountain of Tombs. Jian Wushuang didn't think much of them. He just wanted to take the least treasures and get the most value, 13 golden swords. This time he couldn't escape, and he would definitely appear in the next round. These old guys also wanted to test his strength, but they didn't dare to speak rashly. He didn't have any thoughts about this. It was nothing to show off his strength for the golden sword. He didn't care what these people thought. Anyway, the sky was falling, and the taller man went up to bear it. Playing with the jade board on his thumb, Jian Wushuang cast his eyes on the ring. I wish the battle between Bacha and Wind-holding sword is indeed a wonderful word. Chapter 53:14. The strength of the two is extremely strong. Even if placed outside, they are also the top 1,000 Dayan immortals. In the 4 secret realms, the two are comparable to the Emperor, and they also have a half-step imperial power in the outside world. At the beginning, there were only a few half-step emperors on the list of cosmic gods and demons, and they were all practitioners of the ultimate path in their early 200s. Now because of the treasures of the Qixin Temple, most of the second-rank Yuanyuando powerhouses have also entered the half-step emperor. According to his speculation, the Emperor Bamboo has broken 1,000. The entire primitive universe is infinitely large, much larger than the 4 secret realms of the Qixin Temple, and only so many powerful people have emerged in total. And in the secret realm of the heavens, the Taoist monarch in the north is probably stronger than the outside world. This is not about quantity but quality. The sword chief of the Shangqing Palace, even in the outside world, could rank in the top 100, and his strength was about the same as that of the 10,000 star god emperor, who was imitation of the eternal treasure, and even stronger than the 10,000 stars. No matter how strong the opponent is, he will be defeated with one sword. This kind of aura is also a powerful person comparable to the emperor in the outside world. Now on Primordial Star, there are probably not many people who can be better than him. Although the Shangqing Palace is very famous, there are still many ancient sects that are stronger than the Shangqing Palace in terms of comprehensive strength. In the north, there are several sects far surpassing the Shangqing Palace. The Winter City in the Northern Territory is the real master. It has fought against the White Tiger Palace several times. After being suppressed, although it is quite low-key, the White Tiger Palace is in the Winter City deep in the Northern Territory with one man. Nothing is inserted. This is a symbol of strength. There are more sects of the same kind, and the Heavenly Demon sect is not weaker than the Shangqing Palace, and the strength of the two is equal, and even stronger in the inheritance of the sect. The Shangqing Palace was created by the ancestors of the Shangqing dynasty, and the Shangqing dynasty emerged in the Age of 4 Secret Realms. The Celestial Demon Gate was rising in the Age of the Gods. At that time, the Celestial Demon Gate was stronger than the Winter City, and the god of creation of the Celestial Demon Gate was even more of a sinful demon. His strength is extremely powerful, and his inheritance is naturally stronger. It is a pity that he was ruled by a god. This kind of character is a scourge to stay in the 4 secret realms. Although it was not the devourer, it was not much different, and leaving it was a curse. The Zhu Bacha on the court has accepted the inheritance of the heavenly demon. That demon giant is called 6 Suns because when he was incarnate as a heavenly demon, he had 6 arms and his palms were like the sun. He was extremely dazzling. He once fought battles against several 5th-order emperors and defeated a 5th-order emperor. If someone came to rescue him, the 5th-order peak emperor would have to fall on the spot. With such strength, even in the Shangqing Palace, it can be comparable to the strongest sword among the 9 swords. This is the real powerhouse. If the 6th-order emperor does not come out, it is his world. The one off the court also has this aura at this time. Haha, this is your true strength. Zhu Bacha turned into a 6-armed demon, holding 6 épées with no edge, and the chasing swords that killed them were retreating steadily. 6 swords attacked together, just like one sword, but the power was 6 times stronger. The wind-chasing sword can't resist at all, and can only evade quickly with a flexible posture. Her body was backed back hundreds of thousands of miles again, and his body was plunged into a sea of chaos, but when the outside world looked at it, the distance between the two was still only a few miles. Zhu Baca's strength really exceeded his imagination. Tai Ajian came out, still being crushed and beaten. I'm going to lose. The body of the demon is too strong, even stronger than the perfect body, and the divine body is also approaching 9,000 times. Many emperors or Taoists in the rear commented, the great elder of the Shangqing Palace was not for this reason. His disciple knew best, and the strongest sword had not been revealed yet, and everything was hard to say. 6-armed demon. Elder 9 Swords was a bit surprised. Nowadays, he is in charge of many things in the Shangqing Palace. He knows many things, and has more things to care about. For example, the overall strength of the younger generation is constantly being compared. This is the best way to see that those sects continue to grow stronger, and the strengths of those sects are declining. Compared with usual, this generation of disciples in the Shangqing Palace did not appear to be a Taoist monarch who was too against the sky. In the previous generations, Nie Yuan has been born, or the seedlings of several Jinkuei appeared in the same generation. This generation is a bit too ordinary. Although Tai Jian's sword chief is strong, but this one, there is not even one that can compete with him. Looking at the Celestial Demon Sect, I wish Baka's strength is only a giant in the Celestial Demon Sect, and he is not in the top 10, but his strength can be so strong. And with the combat power of Tai Jian, this is pretty good. Wouldn't the top 10 giants be stronger than the Taijian of the Shangqing Palace? The Shangqing Palace is different from the Heavenly Demon Sect. They pay more attention to excellence, and the entire sect of the Heavenly Demon Sect is like a Shura field. Where the strong live, the identities of those giants change quickly, but in Shangqing Palace, except for the 13th Taijian, there is no Taoist that can take a shot. I want to announce that Mimi Reading Gap is really good. It's worth installing. After all, you can cache books and read aloud offline. Even if the Heavenly Demon Gate does not have these giants, there will be some other Dao monarchs who are eager to climb up. Where is the Shangqing Palace? The current Yin Xian hasn't been cultivated yet, and once the 13 Taya swords break through to the Emperor, there will be no one to fill the gap. Elder Nine Swords' complexion was colorless, but in his heart he secretly made up his mind that before the next era, the resources of the sect should be tilted to the first level. Even to those mortals, this is the foundation. A group of waste emperors, who take advantage of the whole thing and don't work, are just waste. Turning his head to look at the emperors of the Shangqing Palace, sitting in the second row, he couldn't get angry. Especially the Third Order Emperor, not at all motivated. When they just broke through, they were all arrogant, but now they are all discouraged. None of the Fourth Order Emperors have any hope of reaching the Fifth Order. The Taoist generation is very common. The heavens of the four secret realms will soon change, and their strength in the Shangqing Palace will gradually decline by then, and it may be difficult for them to survive. No matter how powerful the Patriarch is, a bunch of trash under his command will not work. Nie Yuan, Elder Jujin said silently in his heart. Nie Yuan, who had regained his fighting spirit, changed his decadence, and his whole body was energetic. Most importantly, this person has never really given up his kendo. Originally thought he had abandoned himself, who would have thought that he would hide his strength. Now he is the Fourth Order peak, plus the current momentum. The Fifth Order Emperor is not far away. This kind of talent shouldn't have been driven away just because of a little face. It's just because of a marriage. It turned out to be like this. Thinking of this, Elder Nine Swords swept to the side of the Great Elder, determined to change the Shangqing Palace, and had to clean it from above. At least we must get rid of the stubborn heart of these old guys. Otherwise the Shangqing Palace will be destroyed by their generation. In the end it is the younger generation. Looking at the battle below, Elder Nine Swords pondered in his heart, and said in secret, "This time, it's good to lose. You can't always let them daydream." Boom. Chapter 53:15. After a huge muffled sound, the chasing sword on the ring was smashed out tens of thousands of miles. The whole body began to crack. Careless, the big elder sitting above his face changed slightly. Even Jian Wushuang couldn't help shaking his head in public. This chasing sword was too turbulent, relying on his posture to constantly provocation. Originally wanted to find Zhu Baka's flaws, but in the end he leaked the flaws, was severely injured by a sword, and his divine body was shattered. This is obviously going to be over. Destroy me. I wish the body of the eight-pointed demon, swooping down majestically. The wind-chasing sword drew the sword again, and his breath continued to rise. But in the middle of it he languished. Apparently the origin was also injured. Stop. Before Elder Nine Swords called to stop, the Great Elder stood up first, and directly pulled the wind-chasing sword from the ring with a wave of his hand. Elder Nine Swords' expression moved a little angry. He now doubts whether this wind-herring sword is the illegitimate son of the Great Elder. Is it necessary to do this? Even if the sword was really slashed, the wind-chasing sword would not fall, and it would be seriously injured at most, sleeping for a while. This is not very good. Let him correct his own problems. Taoist Liang's complexion is not very good. If it weren't for the palace lord of Shangqing here, he would have to swear. Is this necessary for the struggle between juniors? If you end up personally, even if you want to stop the loss, it will be Elder Zhujian's shot. Could it be possible that Jiu Jian could still watch the Taie Jian of the Shangqing palace fall? The other emperors, even though they were a little dissatisfied, didn't dare to show it. They could only turn their heads to congratulate Taoist Liu Yang. Hearing this, his face was a little better. These people obviously don't care about treasures. But Jian Wushuang cares. In his opinion, the strength of the two is equal, and the great elder will interfere, which is also in his expectation, so he will bet for a tie. Now that it's good, this wind-chasing sword is too wasteful. His strength has not been revealed at all. It is very hopeful that he will tie, and he has to hide one hand and wait for the other party's flaws. In the end he lost. Damn it! Jian Wushuang cursed secretly, but he didn't find any treasures, and finally lost that piece of Juxian divine stone. I wish Bacha victory, Elder Nine Swords shouted, and the other 12 Taie Jianzi all leaked expressions of surprise. According to what the elders said, they shouldn't be the strongest. They originally vowed to defend all the arenas without losing. Who would have thought that after only a few rounds, he would lose one game? They also heard that a Taoist monarch came up on the Tomb Sacred Mountain. He was very strong, and his origin was much stronger than that of the emperor. Before that man made a move, they lost one. A lot of treasures and sacred stones fell in front of Zhu Bacha. These are all yours. When Zhu Bacha heard this, he thought that golden sword would not be given to him. At the moment, he was hesitant to pick it up, and his eyes turned to Taoist Liu Yang. Take it. These treasures have nothing to do with the golden sword. Taoist Liu Yang spoke, wishing Bacha would dare to accept so many treasures. Don't thank these predecessors, Taoist Liu Yang said with yin and yang strange aura. Zhu Bacha seems to have come to understand, and bowed and thanked me now. Those of the demon sects, it's okay. The other decent monarchs are a bit unsightly. Especially Elder Nine Swords. He was not afraid of losing, nor complained. Just can't get used to this way of the great elder. Next round continue. Elder Nine Swords, his voice is like Hong Zhong. Zhu Bacha set the precedent for this time to seize the sword, and the emperor also played one after another. The Daojun who can sit in the second row can be comparable in strength to the emperor, and his status is extremely noble. This time he came for the golden sword, and made a name for himself. They are all figures who are about to join the Dao. After this victory, the Dao heart is consummated, and the He Dao stepped into the emperor, and became a strong one. Sheruo City Broly, a burly man with naked torso and ash eyes stood up. He sits in the fifth row, very inconspicuous. The breath is also very ordinary, full of jet black long hair, bound by a headband like a savage. The Taoist sitting in the third row couldn't help but sneer. It's all this time, and there are still people daydreaming. Insert a sentence. Mimi reading gap. Really good. It is worth installing one. After all, you can cache reading and read aloud offline. In the first few rounds, most of them were casual cultivators. These casual cultivators had no school or faction. They reported their names directly, and no one knew them, so they could only add a city name in front of them. Qingyang Sect Wusan. Jingguang City last week. Jian Wushuang didn't plan to watch anymore, and there was nothing to watch behind. In general, he is very enthusiastic about the unique treasures. But these people are not very good. No wonder the Temple of Qi will recruit inheritors from the outside world. Practitioners in the 4 secret realms of feelings are all rubbish. No matter how strong the inherited treasure is, the original flaw cannot be made up for. Yang Sanma knew this for a long time, but didn't care about it. That's why he stayed here with a straight face. These people really don't deserve to sit at the table with him. When fighting abroad, he would rather believe in the puppets of Xuanwu Temple than the waste left over from ancient times. Tomb God Mountain Jian Wushuang, ask for advice. Jian Wushuang's figure was like a sharp blade, breaking through the air and falling directly to the last vacant ring. The 13th sword of Shangqing, the 12th sword Mingjian Fairy. The name is also very similar to an old person. Jian Wushuang doesn't like it. His appearance made Elder Zhujian's expression move. Today, The golden sword has lost at least 2 of them. He can't quite see the strength of Jian Wushuang. Fairy Xingmengjian is more than rubbing it. The appearance of Jian Wushuang made many younger generations straighten their eyes. The mysterious Taoist monarch on the Tomb God Mountain is even more invisible. But many people still feel that it is too exaggerated. Even if it is strong, it is a Taoist monarch. The 4 secret realms are so big that they can still be afraid of a Taoist monarch from a mountain. Originally, these people thought that Jian Wushuang's status should also challenge Jin Kuei when they played. But they didn't expect to beat a woman. Really reduced his status. They are all in the first row, and they are the same generation as those of the Fifth Order emperors, so they have a good life. Nie Yuan didn't think there was anything wrong with Jian Wushuang. He was a master of kendo, and he could analyze many things in every move of Jian Xiao. Uncle Nie, is he strong? The Qing Luo girl asked cautiously. Nie Yuan nodded and said, very strong, at least a level better than that fairy sword fairy. Then he played to a Jin Kuei? The girl had many questions in her heart. Seeing Shishuni's answer, she hurriedly asked. Nie Yuan turned his head and said with a petting look in his eyes, I will know this after a fight. Take a good look, it's useful to you. An emperor sitting in the 4th row couldn't help snorting coldly and sneered. Why, I just went to hug my thigh, and this started to flatter me. The emperor's strength was average, but his background was so strong that he dared to speak up, Nie Yuan. After hearing these words, the Qingluo girl was very angry, but Nie Yuan suppressed it when she wanted to refute. Humph! The emperors are so powerful, they can't see Jian Wushuang very well, and those Taoists are even worse. Chapter 53:16. 13 people stepped onto the ring, and the fight was only between one thought. Jian Wushuang. Fairy Mengjian has cold eyebrows and her face is proud, but her sword is not like that. From the very beginning, Jian Wushuang only glanced at the other party slightly and saw her swordsmanship. She walked a long way on the sword, but the swordsmanship she created was very ordinary. Just this, her strength can still be ranked in the top 8, not the bottom person. These 13 Tai Aegean's unique skills, for these people to practice, is simply a huge waste. Not to mention looking at the universe, it is said that this class of swordsmanship has spread to Desiyu, and the 13 people drawn out are much better than them. In the outside world, the second product origin is at least complete, without any defects. Your Excellency is from the Tomb Mountain, and it's a sword repairer. The little girl is also thinking of asking for advice. Jian Wushuang stretched out his arm and made a please. Suddenly the sound of the wind breaks, and it is utterly unstoppable. The two were the first to fight against each other, and the sky was full of swords and shadows. The enthusiasm was seen by others. Jian Wushuang knew for himself that he hadn't done much just now. All these were the methods of Fairy Mengjian. Well, Jian Wushuang doesn't seem to have a sword. The emperors can still see clearly, and some other Taoists like that Zhu Bacha can also see some doorways. After all, his strength is not weak. The gap is a bit big. The Fifth Order Emperor's eyes were sharp, and he saw Jian Wushuang's extraordinary at a glance. At first they thought it would be a fierce battle, but in the end Mengjian Fairy lost. Now, I am afraid that Mengjian Fairy will not be able to compete for 3 rounds. Staggered, Jian Wushuang's body technique turned, and the whole body leaned back. The sword of Fairy Mengjian just now was a child's play for him. You don't use it to a sword? Jian Wushuang really feels a headache for these swordsmen. Why these people are very arrogant. Can't come up with a cruel move, still waiting for the warm-up. It's too ridiculous. To a large extent, Hustling Sword just underestimated the opponent. His strength was not much weaker than Zhu Bacha. In a good situation he was killed by himself. Fairy Mengjian was a little surprised by Jian Wushuang's body style, but she didn't know that Jian Wushuang had already stepped into the origin level of space. In space, he was much stronger than the emperors of the 4 secret realms. Naturally, she is stronger than her by many levels. Didn't you also have a sword? Fairy Mengjian said. This sentence is nothing. He hasn't made a sword, and it's normal for the other party not to have a unique skill. Everyone is a decent person, but it is a shame for Jian Wushuang, because he didn't even have a magic sword to take out. The light blue long sword in Fairy Dream Sword's hands was as beautiful as a dream, and it seemed to be at least an innate superb sword. The opponent came from an ancient sect. It is normal to have this kind of treasure, and it is understandable that there are more treasures than the outside world. After all, it is handed down from ancient times. But Jian Wushuang's current identity came from the mysterious Tomb Mountain. This sense of mystery was not only for these people. Even Jian Wushuang felt very mysterious, because he didn't know where the Tomb Mountain was or what was on it. With his current status, it would not be an exaggeration to take out an eternally treasured divine sword. But he didn't. There is an ancient sword of the supreme treasure on his body, which was collected from Mo Long. You can't take this broken sword out of shame. The most important thing is that he doesn't need it, or in other words, to deal with a strong man like Mengjian Fairy. He doesn't need to use a sword at all. It's not easy to see his long sword. It'll stand in front of you. Let you see enough at a time, because it's not a sword. Jian Wushuang's figure flickered, and soon disappeared in place. When he reappeared, a hot divine sword appeared in this chaotic space. This is the 6th layer of the ultimate way, the heart sword test. Broken. Puff. With the sword breaking, Jian Wushuang's speed was very fast. But for an instant, many emperors did not react, and Fairy Mengjian's body fell to nothing. This sword didn't hurt the origin of the opponent. After all, this is the Shangqing Palace, so you must grasp the scale. It just caused the opponent's origin to oscillate, and his strength instantly declined, and the whole person was a little unsteady, floating directly in the mixed space, and fell to the ground. Jian Wushuang looked down, humming like a sword. That is the aftermath. The aftermath of the sword sound made people intoxicated. His hands trembled a little, and when he first pierced Fairy Mengjian's body, that evil thought instantly filled his entire mind. He almost couldn't suppress his thoughts. Fortunately, the sound of Swordsman kept reminding him. The thought of swallowing startled again, made him very comfortable. The main thing is the breakthrough of Jidao. It has reached the 6th level. This stage is the most uncomfortable and the fastest improvement. Another part of the reason is that the natives of the 4 great secret realms are too fragile in origin. If they really want to be swallowed, I am afraid it will be easy. Fairy Dream Sword's Kendo origin, he is sure to swallow half of it. It used to swallow 10%, but now it has directly increased to half. The Dayan Immortal who devours the outside world may not be able to do it, but the Dayan Immortal of the 4 great secret realms, that is these Taoists, is too fragile for him. Here, Kendo is not very good, and it is incomparable in unique knowledge. Jidao is very adaptable here. Just by relying on Jidao, he can ask the head of Dao Monarch. Just the horrible devouring power emperor has to avoid it when he comes. This is the Lord against heaven. Even those who have attained the Tao must retreat. There are also many first-order and second-order emperors in the 4 great secret realms, and the status of these emperors is very low. Even those Daozi can't match. It's okay if you have a background. Be a deacon in the sect. Some things can't always be done by the strong. Just like outside the Shangqing Palace, most of the emperors who were greeted and sent off were deacons. But as the face of the Shangqing Palace, these people could not be too weak. Most of them were second-order emperors. Those who don't have a background can be miserable, and it's okay to keep a low profile. Otherwise, they will be chased down by those against the heavens. Every Taoist against the heavens will look for some emperor to challenge before he joins the Tao. If the strength is not enough, they will challenge the first-order emperor. And if they lose, they will retreat. This can be considered weak and sad. In the primitive universe, there are very few Dayan Immortals, and no one of those emperors will be afraid of a Dayan Immortal, and the understanding of Tao is very different. In addition, the book reading app one I'm using recently, Myriad app, has many sources of books, complete books, and fast update. The emperor with the weakest calculation has also mastered the origin of space, has walked his origin path to perfection, and realized space. It's different in the Temple of Qishan. These emperors can only comprehend the origin of space when they are in the third level. Many second-order emperors have just touched the threshold of the origin of space, and they are not as good as the Dian immortals from the outside world. As for those emperors, it was even worse, and there was hardly any sight of the threshold of the origin of space. The strength he showed just now surprised the emperors above. It was not all his crushing power, but his familiarity with space. It's the breath of the origin of space. Chapter 53:17. Taoist Liang's face was green, and his eyes were extremely sharp. Jian Wushuang's body shape just now was erratic, and the space on the ring was under his control. How is this possible? He is a Taoist. How can he have mastered the origin of space? Many emperors were speechless. The origin of space. Many Taoists don't even know what it is, let alone master it. The people on the Tomb God Mountain are really extraordinary. Those who want to see Jian Wushuang's true strength now thoroughly understand what is the difference between heaven and earth. Brother Nine Swords, this time your 13 Tai Aegean in the Shangqing Palace. I am afraid that you will all be defeated by this little friend. Insert an app. Perfectly reproduce the old version of the book-chasing artifact. An interchangeable app Mimi reading. Although he should have laughed at Shangqing Palace at this time, Taoist Luyang couldn't laugh. With a move in my heart, a blood-colored token floating in the source rotated, recorded the scene just now, and transmitted it to a certain hall in the depths of the northern realm. Suspected to find the inheritor. Hidden in the ancient hall deep in the north. One of his arms that was about to dry out suddenly moved. Under the ray of sunlight, the owner of the arm leaked his thin sallow face, and his face was even more terrifying than the guardian. Although there is no vitality in the body of the guardian, at least he looks like a person. This exhausted old man has no personal appearance. His body is like dry wood, his face is like ashes, and even the outline of his face is almost buried by dust. Xiao Liuzi has sent a letter. The skinny old man moved his arm slightly and turned the reluctant lamp. There is a message and a picture at the top. After watching everything that happened above, the old man's eyes leaked light. Inheritor. Puff. A strong breath began to rise, and the skinny old man straightened up in an instant, and his whole person became vigorous. Don't wait for countless epochs. Has the true temple finally opened? The skinny old man's gaze penetrated everything like a torch. Goyalu. The body of the skinny old man began to change, and the power of flesh and blood rose from the abyss below. The divine body is also gradually breaking through, 10,000 times, 20,000 times, 30,000 times and 50,000 times, until the final 68,000 times. After the divine body was completely restored, the old man's body began to fall off, leaving only a divine phantom. In the abyss, a living flesh slowly rose up. This physical body can keep you alive for 3 days. Even if it comes to nothing, you can escape. Remember to keep the bottom line, and the true spirit will recover. Once he does it, I can't save you. The voice in the abyss was very low, reminding the thin old man carefully. The skinny old man now had his life changed again, and the phantom of the divine body entered the flesh body, directly rose up, clenched his fist slightly, and filled his whole body with powerful force. It's been a long time since I felt this way, and 3 days are enough. Be careful. I will remember this kindness with the Card clan. At the same time, hundreds of figures appeared at the same time in the 4 secret realms of the northern realm, and even the secret realm of the heavens. These people were all the same as the skinny old man. The price is given to King White, and the inheritor has actually appeared in the northern border. Yeah, countless people have received that message, but it is a pity that there is only King Bai in the north. The White King, who had recovered his ultimate strength, rose to the sky. From the depths of the northern realm to Liuzhou for him, it only took 3 hours. If you take the teleportation array, it may be much faster, but the teleportation array has the origin of cosmic space, and the real spirit is sitting there, and he may be discovered as soon as he enters. He knew the strength of the true spirit. The forest of Manzhou made them, the old guys, more vigilant. In a clan of cards, it must be great again. The true temple can't restrain us. King White, a powerful who crossed the sky and earth in the ancient times, whose strength far surpassed the average tier 6, has entered the ultimate level. But in the true temple, he couldn't break through if he couldn't get out. The origin in the true temple was eroding him all the time, and he had to abandon his body and origin and embark on the line of the divine body. Now the divine body is more than 60,000 times. Although it can only last for 3 days, it is enough. After King Bai broke through the air and left, the abyss of the ancient highness also began to collapse. A huge eye leaked out of the abyss, and then it began to dim. You can't count on these idiots too much. Other plans are also going to start. I really miss my time in the Titans. The huge eyes eventually disappeared. In the Shangqing Palace, Jian Wushuang calmly walked towards the pavilion of watching chaos. He didn't know that there was a strong man who would come here in 3 hours and come for him. The strength of the sheep's third purpose. I am afraid that it will fall in a single encounter. Even if the Shangqing Patriarch made a move, he couldn't stop a few rounds. Before the horror came, Jian Wushuang also had an early warning in his heart. He always felt that something was missing there, but there was no way to guess. After returning to the Guanchao Pavilion, after a low-key greeting with those emperors and powerful, he regained his seat. Senior Sheep, when you finish winning the golden sword, let's go back. There seems to be nothing special here. Jian Wushuang whispered quietly. The uncomfortable feeling in his heart did affect his decision-making. The original plan was to go to other places in the Shangqing Palace to take a good look after the sword seizure was over. It's not necessary now, it's better to go back soon. Sheep's 3 eyes naturally didn't have any questions, and Transon responded without any questions. Jian Wushuang nodded and didn't say anything. When he looked at the ring, he glanced at the Taoist Luyang, the giant of the magic way. With a smile on his face, he was talking and laughing with an emperor, and he couldn't see anything. But he always feels that this magician giant is watching him all the time. After a glance, he looked at the ring again. Taoist Luyang said that he was small on the surface with the emperor beside him, but he was surprised at the bottom of his heart. He didn't know why Jian Wushuang just glanced at it. It is disrespectful to look directly at the emperor. Even if Jian Wushuang's status is very high, he should know this. Generally, he will not look directly at the strong emperor. If Jian Wushuang watched him, because he had just delivered the news, it would be too scary. The method of transmitting the message was granted by the master of the heavenly demon personally. He once told him that such a method of transmission, let alone the 6th order emperor, would not be noticed even in front of the master of the temple. That's why he sent it so boldly. No matter what, this Jian Wushuang will not live long. Tomb God Mountain? Humph, it's just a joke, and these idiots will take it seriously. Taoist Luyang sneered in his heart. He knows more things than these people. He knows a lot about inheritors, true temples, and even true gods. The most important thing is that he knows where he is. I also know where I am going. Knowing this, he has a more ambitious goal. For this goal to die. Chapter 53:18. Jian Wushuang always felt that those seemingly non-existent eyes were staring at him, but he couldn't sense who it was. It doesn't matter. There should be no problem with the old man with horns. With a move of mental energy, some rippled moods returned to stability. There are still 11 golden swords on the field now, so be sure to take them all. As for the one taken by Zhu Bacha, he has no choice but to get as many as he can. Not long after he returned to his seat, Elder Nine Swords sent the golden sword to him. The golden sword, like a fish, kept swimming around him. Snapped. I grabbed the golden sword that was swimming and got it into its source. After a little bit of insight, Jian Wushuang was shocked by the Great Road. This is a colorful avenue, the modeled place is the source, and there is only a golden source in the follow-up. Although it is a small strand, it also benefits infinitely. Sure enough, the avenue of the ancestor of the Qing dynasty was extraordinary. Space and kendo have been merged with each other, and there is also a trace of the way of all things in the root of kendo. This surprised him very much. Unexpectedly, a golden sword would not only enable him to understand the ultimate way, but also benefit Ji Dao along with it. The power of all things. That is more powerful than swallowing. Once Ji Dao breaks through the 7th level and masters the power of all things, he is truly invincible and immortal. And the emperor can also be killed, regardless of the outside world or the natives. Cut. Now Ji Dao has broken through one after another. Although the 7th floor is very close, it is not so easy to break through. There is a bottleneck in every 3 layers, and it is too difficult to overcome. These 3 levels of devouring power rely on swallowing, and basically don't rely on cultivation. Now that I want to enter the 7th level, I don't know where to start. You can only devour some of the original sources first, and achieve the most complete 6th floor. Swallow. Aboriginal Taoist monarchs, and those emperors are the real delicacy. No wonder the Temple of Forbidding suppressed those demon masters, and did not dare to let them out. They really wanted to let go. Their threat was too great. And it didn't take long for them to swallow the practitioners of the 4 great secret realms. Up. And these demon masters, the more they swallow, the stronger the backlash. Once the snowball rolls up, I am afraid that the real spirit will not be able to end. After thinking about this, Jian Wushuang was also relieved. Shan Jun is kind to him, and he has evil thoughts in his body, but it can't be too much. The bottom line is still there. After a little insight, he left the avatar of thought power in the original path, and his thoughts were also freed from it. On the ring. In fact, Jian Wushuang was not the fastest to end the battle. There was also a Daozi who was also very strong, but it was the sword leader who challenged him. He was defeated with 1 sword, and he was indeed faster than him. The emperors of the major sects are not weak in strength, and they have been killed with the Taya sword. There was a Taoist monarch who persisted till the end. Broly. Jian Wushuang's eyes changed, looking at the burly man with naked torso on the ring, a little surprised. He had seen through the strength of this person early in the morning. Even looking at it now, it's just like that. How can it persist until now? The power of thought condensed slightly, and he approached the ring. And when he observed it again, Broly's breath had been constantly growing despite the time of the battle. The divine body and origin are changing with the battle. He is not practicing kendo, someone exclaimed. Jian Wushuang shook his head. It's so important. No one else uses a sword, and the origin Dao doesn't have any sword intent. How could it be Jian Xiao? A casual cultivator, who does not practice kendo, can enter the Shangqing Palace to watch the sword tide. He turned his head and looked back. An emperor sitting in the 4th row clenched his fists and stared at the ring. His appearance was very similar to Broly. My son, we must win. For the glory of the Dabu family. He is the emperor of kendo. Jian Wushuang saw the identity of the emperor at a glance. Then he turned his head to look at a 4th order emperor on the side, and asked, Fan Daoyu, who is the man behind? This fellow Zhang. The Taoist name is Hun Tianjun. He is a powerful 4th order emperor with a strong background. He comes from a super family, and is no weaker than the Shangqing Palace. Jian Wushuang also talked with this Huntian monarch before. I've heard of this person. When I was assigned to Liuzhou by the family, the first person I knew was him. The strength of the 3rd order emperor, and the collapse of the family's middle way, has been running around for the family, and it is not easy. Hun Tianjin raised his eyebrows and smiled lightly. Why Wushuang Daoist is interested in him? Jian Wushuang shook his head, and looked at Broly on the ring. I am more interested in his son. Haha, in this case, when the ceremony is over, I can let the father and son get together in private. Hun Tianjun said, patted his chest. He has a strong background, and his own strength is not weak. He is good friends with many 5th order emperors. He was assigned to Liuzhou by the family to take care of the family's industry, and make friends to stabilize his position in the family. Jian Wu's double-faced color moved slowly and said, It's not necessary this time, there is not much time. I will leave when the golden sword ends. I'm just very curious about this Broly, but came to grab the golden sword. This kind of thing actually happened in the past. It was not a sword repair, but came to grab the golden sword, first to be famous, and second, to get the golden sword, which can also be sold at a high price. It's just that there are few opportunities like this. It's not that sword repair seldom can come in. especially the powerhouse of the Taoist level. Just like these powerhouses in the Cao Cao Pavilion now, Jiuqing is a sword repairer. There are also 10% of emperors who bring their families or sect descendants to watch the sword tide. Broly, on the contrary, he is not a sword repairer, but his father is a sword repairer. Followed his father into the Shangqing Palace. Could it be said that the gold sword was also for his father? Han Tianjun glanced around. He made friends in all directions and exquisite. How could he not see what Jian Wushuang was wondering? Fellow Taoist Wushuang, that Emperor Bukuan is a swordsman emperor. His son Broly went to the arena to grab the golden sword, to a large extent to help his father seize the golden sword. Another reason is also to become famous. Han Tianjun whispered quietly. Sure enough, the same as he guessed. If so, it's not surprising. Broly's performance in the ring, even if he loses in the end, he will become famous in the future, and he will definitely be attracted by some big forces. It is better to win. The emperors in the next few rows are already wooing Emperor Bukuan. This is how the father is expensive with the son. Emperor Bukuan's strength is very weak, up to the third-tier top emperor, and few emperors present are weaker than him. If you join certain forces, you may at most mix with the head of an outer deacon. After all, he is not a confidant, but he can only be a deacon of the outer sect, and has no future. Chapter 53:19. On the ring. Broly's breath, the stronger the war. The physical body has reached a perfect state, and the whole person is strong, and the body is like a peak treasure, indestructible. His weapon was also very strange. It was a treasure glove, which was smashed with one punch, and the treasure in his hand began to tremble. 10,000-fold divine body. Jian Wushuang's eyes shrank, and he didn't expect Broly's divine body to be still rising. The origin path is also comparable to outside practitioners. Of the same level, there are probably few origins in the 4 secret realms that are stronger than Broly. The Taiya Jian who fought with Broly was still able to gain the upper hand at first, but now he has fallen to one side, and is gradually losing his support. This scene greatly changed the expressions of everyone on the tide-watching pavilion. Lost third. The lord of the Shangqing Palace looked as usual. He didn't care much about the younger generation. He lost face when he lost, but he still didn't affect him. The big elder is different. The younger generation has always been under his control. He usually seizes the sword, and loses once is normal, and loses twice even if it is capped. Now it is the third loser. There is no need to wait for Jian Wushuang to sweep, and the remaining half of the emperor and Daozi may be able to defeat them by half. This was beyond his expectation. Elder Nine Swords had a different view. It was not terrible to lose, because he was afraid that the great elder could not afford to lose. The younger generation is the foundation, and it should have changed a long time ago. After this time, he will naturally ask the patriarch to allow the changes. There is also an increase in financial resources to win-lose repairs. Practice pays attention to personal law and wealth. These 2 factors accounted for the bulk of the Qing Palace. Naturally, there is no shortage of skills in the Qing Palace. The financial situation may be relatively short, but this is also because the sphere of influence is too small. If it can dominate Liuzhou, the status of the Shangqing Palace can be raised. This son, Elder Nine Swords, stared at Broly on the arena. Although this person has great potential and strength, he is not a sword repairer, and won't help the other party too much. But his father can win 1 or 2. Broly's strength is much stronger than Zhu Bacha, and he will soon become a 4th-order emperor after he joins the road. A future 4th-order emperor, even hopeful that the 5th-order existence is worthy of him to win. Elder Nine Swords moved his heart, and immediately transmitted the voice to the deacons outside. Order to go down. After the ceremony, leave Bukuan father and son, and promise them no matter what they ask. This kind of practice may not be very attractive to the palace master and the great elder, but it is also a means of accumulating strength. The last time Liuzhou changed, an ancient relic was born. They suffered a big loss due to lack of manpower. The great forces fought, and the practitioners were overwhelming, and their strong were still too few. Boom. I'm going to lose. Many people sighed. Although some Jianxiu were not from the Shangqing Palace, they didn't want to see Jianxiu be defeated by the side. Jian Wushuang didn't care about it. This Broly feels very strange to him. If necessary, he will fight the opponent and use the power of devouring to take a look at the origin of the opponent. This was the first time he saw the origin of the stronger the war. He didn't tell the old chauffeur man about this, because besides him, it seemed that many people hadn't paid too much attention to Broly's breath becoming stronger. Broly wins. Broly, who returned to the Cao Cao pavilion, spoke very little, just nodded slightly, and after receiving the golden sword, he returned to his position. Bukun's face was full of smiles, and he kept praising Broly for his bravery. Under everyone's gaze, Broly gave the golden sword directly to his father Bukun. Many people know this, but they didn't expect that Bukun was so shameless that he actually asked his son to beg for it in person. The emperor's face was simply ashamed. A lot of cold sword repairers snorted at the moment, sullenly not looking at them. In this regard, the father and son were calm. After Bukun took it generously, he got up and walked towards Jian Wushuang. His Royal Highness Wushuang, please accept this golden sword. This. Jian Wushuang turned his head to look at Bukun, who had bowed before him, his face full of doubt. What is this person doing? I asked for my son's golden sword, and turned around to give it to him. When other strong men saw this scene, they also leaked incredible eyes. Didn't you shoot flattering like that? Emperor Bukun, I can't bear this golden sword. Jian Wushuang quickly pushed back. Although the golden sword is of great use to him, it is not worthless. He even swallowed the origin of the universe, and cared about the origin of the emperor. Bukun raised his head, glanced at the old man with horns, once again bowed to Jian Wushuang, and respectfully said, the sword is weak in the lower kendo, and there is no blessing to get the golden sword. This treasure is only in the hands of His Highness. It will be of great use. I would like to offer this golden sword in exchange for a promise from Your Highness. Committed to? Jian Wushuang is even more speechless. What is the value of his promise? Isn't this a disguised gift of treasure? If this Bukun knew his identity, I am afraid that would not be the case. He is just an inheritor, so there is no identity background. The trials are not over, and when the trials are over, after they settled in the 4 secret realms, their status will not be too high. After all, they are just great potential, not strong. I don't want to talk about Hadao. The origin of the indigenous Taoist monarchs is weak, and the chance of Hadao is very high, generally can succeed. Apart from Hadao, Jian Wushuang didn't think that his life would be better in the future. The current trial is nothing more than a screening. Once the screening is done and settled in the 4 secret realms, it will be a more severe trial when the time comes. Don't really think that the inheritor of the Qixin Temple, who is the whole flaunting and majestic wandering around the 4 secret realms, has the strength against the sky. However, it's not impossible to make a short promise and exchange for a golden sword. Wow! Jian Wushuang flipped his hands and took out a pinnacle treasure and a fruit that increased its origin. The former is a fairly good innate treasure. It is used to guard the original source. It is used by the emperor in the outside world. However, the value of the 4 secret realms is not so high, and it may be about 10,000 sacred stones. The latter is somewhat special, with a value of around 50,000 sacred stones, and together they are not as good as the golden sword. The key to Jian Wushuang's body was so little left, which treasure that guarded the origin was just taken from him. I don't like the cause and effect of owing others. You take these treasures. Jian Wushuang moved slightly, and then took the Silk Road origin from his own origin, with the power of all things on top. This thread of origin is for Linglang. The origin has appeared, and everyone has seen this origin. This origin? It's amazing. Jian Wushuang didn't expect that if he randomly extracted a strand of origin, it would cause so many people to tremble. Friend Wushuang, where did you get this origin? Hun Tianjun stared at that origin, his eyes hot. Then I thought about it, knowing that I had said the wrong thing, and quickly changed the subject. Upon hearing this, Jian Wushuang immediately said, It is not a good treasure given by my parents. Chapter 53:20. Anyway, he will leave after today, and no one knows what he says, and he will not be afraid of revealing stuff in the future. He took out so many things, but Bukuin was a little bit unwilling to accept it. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly and said, "Why? Not enough." No, enough is enough." Bukuin was very frightened, making Broly's face deep and his eyes a little unkind. Then Bukuin spoke, and quickly accepted these treasures. Jian Wushuang accepted the golden sword with satisfaction. He owes enough cause and effect, and promises are also cause and effect. For things that can be solved with treasures, try not to use cause and effect. It's hard to pay it back then. After accepting the golden sword, Han Tianjun hurriedly congratulated, then quietly said Bukun's request. It turned out that the other party would offer the golden sword only if he wanted something. And now let Han Tianjun help him pass the message. Friend Wushuang, this Bukuin is not ordinary. He wants the senior sheep who came with you to accept Broly as a disciple, and accept it in front of so many powerful people. Jian Wushuang was stunned. The old man Yang Horn was only a fifth-order emperor. Even if he was much stronger than the same order, these people shouldn't be able to see it. Except for the master of the Shangqing Palace. Broly's potential is huge. This time he has become famous in Liuzhou, and people who want to worship that mountain gate will have very high conditions. I'm afraid the Shangqing Palace will win it. It is not difficult for the fifth-order emperor to accept disciples. If you are willing, I am afraid that the other fifth-order emperors will accept Broly. There is no need to apprentice the old man with horns. Jian Wushuang uttered his doubts. Han Tianjun laughed secretly in his heart, and immediately replied, "Brother Wushuang, when you and Senior Yang came, did you meet the palace master who is stationed in Liuzhou?" It turned out to be like this. Without Han Tianjun explaining, he understood. Bukuin wanted to hug his thigh. Han Tianjun mentioned that Bukuin was running around for the family, a disciple of a fifth-order emperor. It was not a big deal. It was impossible for those big forces to give in because of this relationship. But if they apprehend the three eyes of the sheep, and relying on the relationship between the three eyes of the sheep and the palace master, I am afraid that their family status will also rise. Jian Wushuang did not think too much. The battle of the four secret realms was much colder than he had imagined. So humble, to give him a gift to a Taoist monarch. In the end, not only for his own son, but also for the family. In this way, Jian Wushuang's impression of him has also slightly changed a lot. However, he and Bukuin no longer have so many causes and effects. The origin of the ultimate path. The only one in the world. And it is more than enough to exchange for a golden sword. If you want to apprentice Yang Sanmu, you have to talk about it yourself. He also didn't think that with his current status, the old horned man could give him face. After this episode, the capture of the sword continued. And he continued to end. It is a fact that the Shangqing Palace today has been wiped out. If the palace lord of the Shangqing Qing dynasty spoke, he might show face. But if no one mentions it, he would not be polite. In the second game, a Tai Aegean was randomly selected, and the opponent was also given a chance to win easily in 3 rounds. This is the crush of Yuan Yuan, and he may not be as good as the other party in jerkiness, but he has never been afraid of anyone in Yuan Yuan Road. In just 2 hours, he swept through all Tai Aegean except Jinkui, the 13th Tai Aegean. The 13th and 7th Jinzi lost to Zhu Bacha and Broly, and the remaining 10 Tai Aegean were defeated by Jian Wushuang. Now there is only one sword chief left. This is the last fig leaf of the Shangqing Palace. This has never happened in the history of the Shangqing Palace. If Jian Wushuang was the heaven-defying Taoist lord in Zhongzhou, I'm afraid the palace master of Shangqing would definitely stop him because of his face. But he is not a member of the major sects. He is a Taoist from the Tomb Mountain. Don't talk about background, just talk about strength. It is obvious to all emperors that if the palace lord of the Shangqing dynasty really stopped, it would be looked down upon by others. It's better to be calm. The heaven-defying Taoist on the Tumshan Mountain came to sweep a sect of the emperor, and it would not be ashamed to say it. Boom! Jian Wushuang fell into the ring again. Shangqing Palace, contemporary sword leader Yan Zhen. He is still the brother of the chasing wind sword, and both of the brothers are contemporary 13 great swords, and Yan Zhen is still the leader of the sword. The emperors of their family are proud of this. In the previous fight, the same as Jian Wushuang, he also solved the opponent in 3 rounds, without any muddling. Now facing Jian Wushuang, there is no panic at all. The last battle, it is also the opponent who is most likely to let Jian Wushuang use his full strength. And many people in the Watching Tide Pavilion are watching. Except for the Broly, he doesn't practice kendo, nor does he like being in crowded places, sitting there alone, drinking alone. Yang Sanma knew Jian Wushuang's strength and didn't pay much attention. Instead, he glanced at Broly, and then quietly sent the news through his identity token. Jian Wushuang could see the difference between Broly, and Yang's 3 eyes naturally saw it. And also these indigenous emperors, whose origins were too weak, and their mental powers were too weak to discover the value of this piece of jade. Insert a sentence. Mimi reading gap. Really good. It is worth installing one. After all, you can cache reading and read aloud offline. Senate Palace. Wu's was Dharmakaya sitting on the throne. After receiving the news of Yang Sanmei, his eyes were deep. Immediately got up. This Dharmakaya went to Liuzhou in person. Is it a change? Wu's said to himself, if he really changed his way, he would have done a great job again this time. This matter must not let the people in the White Tiger Palace know. If the deity is not in retreat, he will even let the deity go in person. But a Dharmakaya is enough. He used to be a named disciple of Qixin, and his strength was immense. Even the law bodies had 6th-order combat power. And since returning to the Temple of Qixin, he has gained a lot of benefits. In the Temple of Qixin, he had hidden a lot of good things and some powerful relics. He knew where he was, and when he opened up Wasteland, he did not take advantage of it. Today, a Dharma body carries several eternal treasures. Moreover, once the deity digests that treasure, his strength can skyrocket a lot. For secret realms in vertical and horizontal, he has never seen those indigenous emperors. The journey of the strong lies in the outside world. After the strength is strong, or after the treasures of the Qixin temple are emptied, they still have to go out and explore. The 4 great secret realms, where he can go to him. The 4 great secret realms are like a back garden. There is nothing to break into. The average emperor is fine, like him. The treasures of the 4 great secret realms have not attracted much attraction to him. He has a lot of eternal treasures. And the pitch-black snake refined by the gods is the ultimate eternal treasure. In addition to the treasures of the universe, he also looks down on other treasures, because they are of little use to him. After seeing Wu's, Xiao Huang, who was sitting in the teleportation hall, quickly got up to greet him. Friend Xiao Huang, please send the seat to Liuzhou. Wu's tone was very friendly, which made Xiao Huang a little embarrassed. He nodded and politely sent Wu's into the teleportation formation, and then injected divine power, which instantly aroused the entire formation. Chapter 53:21. Xiao Huang's heart moved, and suddenly he thought that Jian Wushuang and Yang Sanma had just gone to Liuzhou, and now Wu's is also going. Is there something wrong there? After sending Wu's away, he quickly contacted Jian Wushuang through his identity token. Brat. Wu's is here. The world revolves, and once again is Shaluo City. Just waiting for him to enter Shaluo City. The whole person was shocked. A strong sense of threat made his brows frowned. Boom. The entire city of Shaluo was trembling, and the emperors outside the teleportation formation jumped into the air, not looking at the teleportation formation, but rushing to the north. As soon as Wu's apart from the teleportation formation, the 3 teleportation formations behind him began to collapse. People in the city also began to flee, all in the north. Stationed in the direction of the temple, Venerable Fire is sitting there. Even the teleportation array dared to destroy. It seemed that the other party had come prepared. Arrogant. Wu's roared and rose to the sky, looking at the black mist in the distance. This is the Temple of Qixin. the chassis of his master of Qishan, these natives dare to rebel. When he opened up Wasteland, he slaughtered many sixth-order emperors, although only a law body came. But ordinary sixth-order emperors could not escape his palm. In the black mist, a figure flew out, white hair and cold face. It is the White King. After he arrived in Liuzhou, he first went to slaughter the Lord of the Temple of Heaven, Venerable Blazing Fire. Then the entire Liuzhou teleportation array was destroyed along the way. Shaluo City is the last one. It's you. After King Bai saw the incoming person, his complexion changed a lot. But after a little sense, he found that it was just a Dharmakaya. And he looked up to the sky and smiled. God is helping me. If you are the deity coming, you can still stop me. A Dharmakaya. You can't stop me. Wu's eyes changed, and the other party was right. Unbelievable combat power. How can you, a dog of the bereavement, step into the ranks of the ultimate? King Bai had cold eyes. When he heard the dog of the bereavement, he laughed in anger and sarcastically said, "Aren't you the dog of the bereavement? The true has fallen, and you, a disciple, would like to accompany his old man, and I will help you. Let me tell you, the novel app I'm using recently, Mimiriad app, Android and Apple phones support it. This sentence is extremely harmful to Wuxia, and he does it directly regardless of whether his strength is equal or not. You are looking for death." At this moment, not only did the law body utter this sentence, the deity also broke through, and the pale yellow Taoist robe danced with the wind. The Senate Palace trembles. Immediately notify the White Tiger Palace. There is a change in Liuzhou. After leaving this sentence, Wu's deity broke away. Yuanyang Lake is in the land of Zhongzhou, too far from the north. Even if he wants to fly over, it will take hundreds of years. But the teleportation array was destroyed, and could only be teleported to the vicinity of Liuzhou. It's not difficult to cross the entire Liuzhou. One day is enough. The rebellion this time is too strong, the most powerful. In addition to him, the veteran of the Senate Palace has the ultimate strength. But there is also a third-tier veteran. But he is discussing the Northern Territory in the White Tiger Palace. Not in the Senate at all. Only people can inform the White Tiger Temple, and together can we suppress the White King. Absolute combat power is no longer what ordinary sixth-order emperors can contend. That Dharma body will not last long. The key is that he doesn't know what the purpose of that White King is. Liuzhou. The most comfortable place today is the Shangqing Palace. The identity token is very special, and some people are very few. The people on the tide-watching pavilion watched the fight below, drank their drinks, and tasted the unique fruits of the Shangqing Palace. But I don't know that a terrifying existence will soon come here. Jian Wushuang received the news from Qiu Huang. It's just that the news is very brief. It just talked about Wu's going to Liuzhou, and asked if anything happened there. While dealing with the sword chief, Jian Wushuang also sent a message to Qiu Huang. Yanzhen obviously felt that Jian Wushuang hadn't taken it seriously at all, and his momentum exploded again for a while. His Royal Highness, let you see today what is Teia's sword. Yanzhen stretched out his hands, and two long-bladed cold knives appeared in his hands. When he raided again, the power was endless. Even Jian Wushuang felt the pressure, and after fooling Qiu Huang casually at the moment, he concentrated on fighting. Jianqi's strength is really extraordinary. Curse. Since he wants respect, he just gives it. He wants to use the purest kendo to defeat the opponent, which is regarded as respect. From beginning to end, he didn't even use Jidao, the 7th level of ultimate swordsmanship. No matter how pure it is, there is no reality from the extreme. The power of all things is not a joke. Killing the emperor can do it. Although there is only a part of the power of all things in the body, it is enough to kill the weak and weak emperors of the indigenous people. Rumble. The sky is rustling, and the punishment of the heavens has triggered the power of the space thunder to fall from the sky. Yanzhen also felt the breath. It was too late when he wanted to retreat. He could only bite the bullet and fight Jian Wushuang head-on. He knew that Jian Wushuang's origins were extremely powerful, and he would suffer a lot from head-to-head in kendo. If he only relied on his unique skills, he still had hope. After fighting for so long, he could see a lot of things. Jian Wushuang has been using the purest kendo source, but what he uses is fascinating. The difference between the two is so big that it really makes him ashamed. But this time, he would take the sword no matter what, whether it was for himself or for the sect. This sword is likely to be the opponent's strongest sword, if there is hope of a comeback next. Indeed, this sword is indeed the strongest sword ever realized by Jian Wushuang's kendo. The 7th level of the ultimate path is even for this sword. Talent imprisonment. In one go, there is a big difference between having no sword in his hand and holding it without moving. Song. A heavy attack broke out. Yanjin slashed across his body, his hands trembling. He caught the sword, and even made a breakthrough in a hurry, and by the way gave Jian Wushuang a sword. It's interesting. Jian Wushuang stood tall in the air, slowly turning around. The Heaven Punishment Sword unexpectedly failed to slash the opponent, but took a sword by himself. He was a little amused after seeing the others shaking hands. A perfect supergrade flesh body can't be broken so easily. Just the rebound of the flesh body can cause the opponent's arms to break and destroy. He has lost the absolute knowledge, but he hasn't won at the root. This made Jian Wushuang very interested in this person. The Heaven Punishment Sword is his strongest sword, but he has never said it, only this sword. Around the body, a huge sword formation suddenly rose up. Absolute fairy formation. 72 of the strongest swords appeared directly around the body. Although it is not too pure, using the power of thought and swallowing, it is not too bullying. If you use the Heaven Punishment Sword a few more times, you can defeat Yanjin. But if you do so, it's too boring. This is a competition. There is no need to be so decisive, so that the opponent has no desire to come back. Chapter 53:22. To leave a trace of illusion to the other party, and then go to break him. The breath has changed, and sure enough, his sword cannot be reused. Yanjin was overjoyed, and quickly swallowed the pill to restore the loss of his physical and divine body. His Taiye sword is a peculiar learning. As long as the strength continues, Taiye sword will not break. Like last time, he once again raided and killed Xiang Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang lowered his eyebrows and smiled, and the change of the sword formation immediately trapped the opponent. Absolutely immortal. Absolutely immortal. It's really to go to the fairy road and return to the commonplace. The great formation rose up, the sword intent soared into the sky. Yanjin was not weak in strength, but he couldn't rush out, and he was trapped. At the tide-watching pavilion, the great elder's heart sank. Father like son. They saw that Jian Wushuang's current state has not changed at all, and even his aura is stronger than before. But Yangin's aura has been weakening. There is no hope for a comeback, not a level opponent. However, Jian Wushuang gave the other party great hope, allowing Yanjin to maintain the best mentality to fight against. The emperors also saw this, but they changed their views on Jian Wushuang, and even more to this mysterious Taoist monarch. Looked at it with admiration. Yanjin in the sword formation is like a headless fly. Jian Wushuang changed the sword formation at will. Each time he gave Yanjin a glimmer of hope, then broke, and gave hope again. Under the recommendation, the reading app one I'm using recently, Mimi Reading App, has many book sources, complete books, and fast update. Repeatedly, Yong-en is like walking into a maze. This can be regarded as a kind of tempering. It's just that the Grand Elder's expression a little bit can't hold back. This is simply playing Yanjin, insulting them, the contemporary sword chief of the Shangqing Palace. But without that strength, what can be done? The background is incomparable, and the strength is not good, so he can only swallow the whole bitter fruit. Jian Wushuang is outside the formation, with his hands around his chest, looking at the sword leader in the sword formation indifferently. He is not playing the other side. As long as Yanjin can break 36 swords, which is half of the sword formation, he is expected to break through again. This chance is worthy of the golden sword in his hand. Their 13 Taiya swords guarded their respective arenas, until no one challenged them. They obtained the golden swords in their hands, and they would naturally go all out. The usual ceremonies are actually a reward for them, which can be said to be fame and fortune. This time, not only the reputation was discredited, but the golden sword was not able to be left, and all were given to outsiders. Ding! The identity token shook, and Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. In addition to Qiu Huang, Hui Qing and Ji Chaoyang were able to send him through identity tokens. In this shock, could it be that these three people were looking for him at the same time? As soon as the mind power moved, a mind power clone appeared in front of the token floating in the source. Now in the origin, there are several avatars of him, respectively comprehending the origin of the kendo, the origin of the extreme path, the origin of the ancestor of the Shangqing dynasty, the ultimate formation method, and even the power of the space above the candle dragon's wings. His spatial origin is great, and he has already entered the room. Although he has exceeded the same level by too much, he will not leave it alone. Instead, he has divided a little thought and has been enlightening. Once the kendo and the ultimate path are consummated, after he steps into the emperor, the origin of space can be related to the realm, and naturally it is impossible to fall. He was at the forefront. Now that he has fallen, it will be difficult to catch up in the future. Looking at the identity token, Jian Wushuang's clone gently waved his hand, and a large number of messages appeared above it. It came from Qiu Huang all over. Article 1. Please pay more attention. Wuzuo's trip to Liuzhou may be related to you. Reply ASAP. Reply ASAP. Reply ASAP. The great chaos in Liuzhou will return quickly. Tell Yang Sanmu, the old immortal, to get back to me quickly. This is not a joke. Don't go to Shaluo City. Hurry out of Liuzhou, and find a big city to send it back. The teleportation array was destroyed? Chaos in Liuzhou? Jian Wushuang couldn't believe it. He raised his head and looked at the tide-watching pavilion. He was still pushing his cup and changing his cup. There was no mess at all. But since Qiu Huang said so, plus the trace of worry in his heart, he didn't dare to procrastinate at the moment. So he put away the absolute immortal formation. I really can't play this time, I have to go quickly. The touch in his heart became clearer and clearer, and he didn't dare to drag it any longer. Curse. Ball cage. Everything. Jejia. He used all the physical power. For a time, a sword that contained the power of all things burst out in an instant, shaking the sky, causing the entire space to begin to tremble. As soon as this sword came out, the Elder Nine Swords on the Watching Tide Pavilion stepped straight into the ring, blocking Yan Zhen, who was stunned behind him, then left. At the moment he left, that celestial penalty sword chopped down and turned into a huge cage, which remained for a long time. Jian Wushuang's figure also instantly teleported out of the ring. The 13 Tai-Ajian all lost. This is the first time. Elder Nine Swords, come forward and prepare to congratulate. This time Jian Wushuang didn't have time to be polite with these people, and after a few prevarications passed, he hurriedly walked to the old man Yang Jiao. Senior sheep go. The face is colorless, but the bottom of my heart is very anxious, directly transmitting the sound of the old man with horns. The old man Yang Jiao was taken aback for a moment. Jian Wushuang said that he would leave earlier, but there is no need to be in such a hurry. Jian Wushuang directly informed Yang Sanmu of the news from Qiu Huang, fearing that he would drag him. www.novel.com. As soon as he heard that the teleportation array was destroyed, the old man Yang horned directly violent. The momentum leaked out directly, shaking the entire Guanchao pavilion. Elder Nine Swords, after handing the last golden sword to Jian Wushuang, he suddenly saw the old man Yang horn so gaff. He was about to ask what happened. The palace lord of Shangqing, who was sitting on the main seat, also stood up suddenly. This scene made everyone shiver. These two momentums are actually on par. Are these two people going to fight? Is it because Jian Wushuang picked Tai-Ajian from the entire Shangqing palace? It's not necessary either. The key is that the imposing manner of a sixth-order emperor of the Shangqing palace is comparable to that of the fifth-order emperor, the old man of the chauffeur. Is the palace lord of the Shangqing too weak, or the old man of the chauffeur too strong? Elder Nine Swords was sandwiched between the two, thinking that they were going to do something, and immediately said, "Uncle Master, there is no need to do this, we." Before he finished speaking, he heard the voice of the palace lord of Shangqing. "This time it's not Transhan. Liuzhou has changed. Quickly open the Shangqing building and go to the north to take refuge in Hanzhou." At the same time, on the back mountain of the Shangqing palace, a middle-aged man with white hair in a blue shirt and long sideburns broke through with a sword. It is the ancestor of the Shangqing. He also just received the news, and at the same time he noticed the breath, and he was rushing towards this place. Absolutely strong. He longs for a battle, but the entire sect cannot stay here. Take the disciples and go quickly, don't worry about me. Sounds like a bell. The palace lord of the Shangqing condenses into a ball. Except for the Taoists of Luoyang. Everyone was shocked at the pavilion of watching chaos. Of course, Taoist Luoyang was also shocked, just pretending to be. The old horned man didn't care about these people, and immediately took out the ancient boat, pulled Jian Wushuang and rose up. Chapter 53:23. The strongest power began to spread throughout the ancient boat, and the fisherman sitting on the ancient boat stood up directly. "Go!" The voice of the old man with horns was very low. Looking back, Jian Wushuang looked back at the people below. It will soon become ruins, and even the entire Liuzhou will fall. Boom! The void was broken, and the mighty eruption of the ancient boat made the attached mountains tremble. When the panicked people below looked into the air, Guzhou was still in place, but Jian Wushuang and the old man Yang Horn had actually been hundreds of thousands of miles away. This speed has exceeded the space. The sixth-order emperor is hard to reach, very popular, but the old man with horns still felt the pressure, which came from the pressure in Sharo City. The sun and the moon contended for glory, and 2 rounds of huge solar brilliance spread from Shaluo City, and the entire Liuzhou was shaking. Jian Wushuang turned his head and looked back. Under the dazzling light, there was a small black spot behind them. With a slight movement, his eyes sank. It's him. That little black spot is the Emperor of 6 Suns. He is manipulating a mutilated hall and is following them. Although the speed was much slower than theirs, but they have not opened the distance. I had already felt that the other party had some intentions, and now they were following them again, which made Jian Wushuang suspicious. The teleportation formation was destroyed and Liuzhou was shocked. The hidden secrets of this might have something to do with his arrival, as well as the demon giant. The speed of the ancient boat was very fast, and it was only a cup of tea, and it was out of the scope of the Shangqing Palace. At this time, the Shangqing Palace is ready to go, and several eternal treasure palaces are rising. Who would have thought that an hour ago, the Shangqing Palace would still sing and dance, welcoming and sending? Now it's just about to run away. Venerable Blaze fell, Shaluo City was destroyed, and the entire Liuzhou area was about to die in an instant. Is this the ancient times? Sure enough, cruel. Mad Dao bastard. Yang Sanmu turned his head back in an instant, and a third eye appeared on the center of his eyebrows. Born beast pupil. No wonder the name Yang Sanmu. Jian Wushuang looked at him in a daze, and a huge human-shaped antelope appeared above the sky, with its curved corners breaking through the sky. You sit on the ancient boat and go first, and I have to take one person away. Yang's third eye left a sentence, and the sky has receded hundreds of millions of miles before he moved. Just now, Wu's was Dharma body shattered, and that Dharma body fell to Shaluo City. Through the transmission token, he let the Yang Sanmu in the Shangqing Palace, and took away a Taoist monarch with horn Broly. Had to go back now. The ancient boat was completely controlled by the fishermen, and the speed of the old man with horns remained unchanged after he left. Jian Wushuang didn't know who the old horned man was going to take back, and before he could ask, the other party disappeared in this space. Turn out a piece of jade slip. Damn it! Jian Wushuang couldn't help cursing secretly. Now there are many emperors who fled behind him, and they are not slow. They have already met several people. So many people fleeing together, they will definitely be overtaken. Although he doesn't know who the horrible existence that destroys Liuzhou is, he can feel the terrifying breath of the other party. Once you meet, you will die. The target is too big to escape with these people. Jian Wushuang knew it, and immediately commanded the fishermen, "Go to Baimu Zhangzhou." Going north to Hanzhou is very close to the border of Liuzhou, but it is also easier to be overtaken. It is better to change direction and go to Zhangzhou, where there is a real peerless powerhouse. Although he is at odds with the temple, he will not look at others ruining Baimu Zhangzhou. The fisherman standing at the bow of the boat was stunned, and then adjusted his direction according to what Jian Wushuang said. From here, it takes at least a whole day to get to the north head of Zhangzhou. The Taoist Liu Yang, who followed behind, manipulated the incomplete ancient temple, and after seeing the fine adjustment of Guzhou's direction, his eyes changed. "Elder, shall we not go to Hanzhou?" Zhu Bacha asked cautiously. Taoist Liu Yang nodded slightly and said, "Changzhou is too close. Even if you go, you will still flee. It's better to go to Zhangzhou in the north, but there is the Guangmu Tianzuan suppressed there. No one can commit." Guangmu Tianzuan, a sixth-order emperor who survived the ancients, once followed the ancient existence of Qixin, and was one of the 108 divine envoys under the command of Qixin. Behind him, he settled in the temple of Qixin, and was at odds with the four halls. He has been sitting in Zhangzhou, his lair. "Hey, aren't you very interested in golden swords?" The kid in front has 12 golden swords in his hands. Taoist Liu Yang said gloomily, 12 golden swords. Not to mention Dao's sovereign sword repair. Even the fourth-order emperor is eager. Could it be that? Zhu Bacha knew it soon. But all he knew was that he was killing people and surrendering. Just now the old man with horns left. The two of them watched carefully. On the ancient boat ahead, Jian Wushuang was alone. A Taoist, no matter how defying the sky, can he contend with a fifth-order emperor? I wish Bacha, as a giant of the demon Dao, naturally has a demon in his mind, and he does not care about the identity and background of the other party. As a fifth-order emperor of Luoyang Taoist, what he valued was not the golden sword on Jian Wushuang, but Jian Wushuang himself. If you can capture Jian Wushuang alive and give it to that senior, terror will get a lot of rewards. It is possible to enter the sixth-order emperor. Moreover, he looked at that ancient boat with eager eyes. The supreme space treasure. The speed far exceeds the average sixth-order emperor. This kind of scarce eternal treasure, many sixth-order emperors don't have it. How could he not be enthusiastic? Now Liuzhou is shaking, and an inheritor died. I am afraid that no one can find it out. Taoist of 6 sons, his speed increased once again. The speed of the ancient boat is very fast but stable. There is no old man with horns. Although there is no change in speed, it has lost the most important safety. Looking back again, the little black spot behind him was gone, and Jian Wushuang's hanging heart was about to let go, when a dark and dazzling light suddenly struck. Rumble! Yaoguang directly hit the ancient boat, making a terrifying buzzing sound. Between Jian Wushuang's ears, there was a whirlpool, and it took a long time to react. Raising his eyebrows, the mutilated ancient temple of Taoist Luoyang actually arrived in front of him at some point. But after a while, he threw it away and rushed to the front again. This kind of terrifying attack, although temporarily unable to attack him, but the heart strength is also anxious. He hurriedly sent a message to the old man, but found that the identity token had been locked. The crisis this time was too big. Jian Wushuang didn't know what to do for a while. The old man's chauffeur had been away for a long time, and now there was no letter at all. He had a bad premonition in his heart. If the sheep's 3 eyes fell, he would really be finished. The identity token has expired again, and can only rely on the breath of Guzhou to pray that the old man with horns can find him. As for the sneak attack by the Taoist Luoyang, he had to rely solely on Guzhou to fight against him. Although he has the innate top treasure armor, and his body is the eternal and indestructible super grade 10 refinements, he is facing the 5th order peak emperor now. Chapter 53-24. A single blow can destroy the mighty one, who is the innate supreme treasure. If there was no Guzhou, he would be dead. It's faster. 1 chase and 1 escape. The distance between the 2 sides was not very far, and the glare attacked the surface of the ancient boat several times. Fortunately, the speed did not drop, but each attack caused the ancient boat to stop once, which was a waste of time. He is really afraid that the terrifying existence behind him will catch up. The speed of Guizhou is very fast, but the Taoists of the Six Suns can just bite in the rear. The terrifying existence has really come, and I am afraid it will be able to catch up in an instant. The fear in his heart grew more and more, and he now believed that the existence of terror was directed at him. Knowing that the 4 secret realms were so dangerous, he would not come. It should be transferred in the Senate Palace, or directly returned to the original star. If I went back then, there would not be so many things. Although the golden sword was very important, it was far worse than his receipt in the demon space. The origin of the golden sword, at most let him deduct the power of all things, and then extract some useful kendo origins to enhance the current kendo. It's just a little profit. For this thing, if he falls, he will not be willing to die. At the same time, inside the Patriarch's palace, a line of 10 sixth-order emperors, as well as densely packed fifth-order emperors, are ready to go. Now the northern territory Liuzhou has changed dramatically. Since Master True Spirit handed over the northern territory to us, we have to solve it by ourselves now. This is natural. After several sixth-order emperors discussed, they were divided into 5 teams, with 2 sixth-order emperors in each team, and the combined strength was enough to be comparable to the best. Although most of them were taken over by surprise at the beginning, according to the nature of the Temple of Discord, few of the strong ones who were taken over were weak. Even if it is not as good as Zhu Dian, the two together are almost the same. Those fifth-order emperors are all at the pinnacle level, each comparable to the ordinary sixth-order emperors of the 4 secret realms. With such a big battle, the White Tiger Palace came to be embarrassed. I led the first team and sent it to the north of Zhangzhou, and the other teams went to several nearby states. They must suppress the changes and save Jian Wushuang by the way. Yes, everyone answered in unison, then began to send away. The Yuan Lao Palace has not yet established the position of the palace master, but the appeal of a dozen sixth-order emperors is still very strong, and soon a large number of powerful people in the Yuan Palace are gathered to the north. Wu Zuo was single-handedly. When he arrived in Hangzhou alone, he went all out. It took a day from the teleportation array in Hangzhou to the Shangqing Palace. No way, only one big city in Hangzhou has a teleportation array. But its own strength is not weak in Liuzhou. There is only one super sect in Hangzhou, and only one big city. After Wu Zuo deity descended, he sat firmly on the pitch-black snake head, several times faster than Jian Wushuang's ancient boat. A super strong just appeared in Hangzhou, and after only a few breaths he disappeared. This made the sixth-order emperor of the super sect extremely surprised, and quickly sent a message to the White Tiger Palace and reported the matter. Liuzhou changed and Agni was killed. The White Tiger Palace had known about this for a long time, and this kind of thing was not a major event in the past. Generally, people were sent to investigate, and then hunted down without any haste. But this time they didn't move. The True Spirit had only said that when he left the 4 secret realms the day before yesterday, the northern realm was under the jurisdiction of the Yuan Elder Palace. Before they had time to evacuate the branch halls, shocking changes occurred. Don't say let them go to support now. It's enough to give the True Spirit's face if you don't make trouble. Bai Yi sat firmly at the top of the hall, a cold color leaking through the tiger eyes. A bunch of trash. Although not very willing, he still quietly sent a Dharmakaya to the north. The reason why the White Tiger Palace is very resistant to the creation of the Yuan Lao Palace is not only because of selfishness, but because they were created by the gods. They have no selfishness at all. To manage the 4 secret realms well is the bounden duty of the White Tiger Palace. If the establishment of the Senate Palace can make the 4 secret realms more stable, he will support it more than anyone. But the current 4 secret realms are as simple as what No True Spirit said. He has only recovered for a few days. How can he know what is difficult to do in each of them? Now that I have just made it a bit more stable, the Senator Palace has been established, and the 4 great secret realms have also been obtained. Isn't this not adding to the chaos? The White Tiger Hall is very special among the 4 halls. It is not like the Vermilion Bird Palace, where only a few people can manage the primitive world. There are many treasures, and there are few people. There is no competitiveness at all. The Azure Dragon Palace is even more outrageous. Just a mainland chassis with 2 or 3 big cats and kittens above it. So you don't need to worry about it at all. Their duty is to conquer outside, but in this situation, where should they go to conquer? Xuanwu Temple is even more outrageous. Sitting in 108 outer halls. It is equivalent to 108 higher worlds, in which the space is infinite, the strong are scarce, and there are many treasures. It was originally a relatively ordinary hall. However, the hall master of the Xuanwu Hall, for some unknown reason, recruited Feng Mo, one of the 5 great masters, into his command. Among the 5 major demon masters, the Wind Demon has the most stable personality and is good at refining puppets. In addition, Xianyi inherited the core power in the Temple of the Gods, 3 major gods, 18 gods, and 108 messengers. The treasures and inheritance were left in the outer hall to Xianyi. Let him be responsible for spreading it out, and don't want to be cut off. But Xuanyi had never given out these treasures at all in these years, and had all taken possession of them alone. With these treasures 10 nests have been built, and in each nest are puppets. Had it not been for the arrival of the immortal trial, there would not be a living person in the outer hall, all puppets. The strength of these puppets is still very strong, and the weakest are the limits of the Taoist monarch, which can be comparable to the emperor. Some of the strongest puppets. He has also seen a few, and they can all display Tier 6 combat power. Those puppets can be combined with tens of thousands of people, and their power is endless. And Xianyi, the puppet legion that controls the entire 10 worlds, with such a huge power, in the Temple of Qishan, he is the most comfortable one, and he dares to break the wrist with the true spirit. Among the 4 halls, the most aggrieved one is their White Tiger Hall. It is said that they are in control of the 4 secret realms, rather than the 4 secret realms firmly grasping them. When the White Tiger Palace was first established, there were only 9 people. In addition to him, there are 8 messengers. The remaining guardian gods cannot be regarded as humans at all. At first, I said that I was staying to help them take care of the 4 secret realms, but in the end I followed a statue, which was very old-fashioned and couldn't adapt at all. Please help me. Mimi Reading App can steal book tickets like stealing food. Come steal the book tickets of your friends and vote for me. Fortunately, he kept wooing the casual cultivators of the 4 great secret realms, and let them settle in the White Tiger Palace. The Senate Palace was established, and he had a kick in the 4 secret realms. He didn't have a problem, because he was afraid that the group of people would have opinions. It is these people who control the 4 secret realms. Without those hall masters of the subtemples, they control the vast secret realm. Chapter 53:25. The heavens are okay, like the wild ancient land, like the secret realm of the earth. They drink blood and fight in chaos, and they can't be suppressed if there are fewer people. In the realm, the earth temple they set up has recruited even mortals, but it still can't effectively suppress them, and they fight every day. As long as there are extra powerful people in the heavens, they will be sent to the earth. But over time these people will have opinions. They are not puppets. Leave it to his mercy. There are no less powerful people in the earth realm than in the heavens, and those who go to the earth realm have a great chance of falling, and slowly, not many people dare to go. In the land boundary, it is difficult to recruit enough strong people. He even recruited a lot of the special lives in the Tomb of the Gods, and sent them to the realm. Although these special lives are very cruel, they can at least listen to him, and help him suppress those strong in the realm. There are huge secrets hidden in the realm. His deity sits in the realm all the time, and there are only 2 Dharmakayas in the celestial realm. The rest of the combat power was thrown into the land boundary, and the Tomb of the Gods by him. Really considered stable, it is the mortal world secret realm. There is nothing to suppress there, only some local powerhouses, and setting up the White Tiger Hall to command it is enough. Bai Yi's law body, through the teleportation array, went directly to Bai Zhangzhou. He will not show up easily this time. If he is a last resort, he will come forward. If the Senate Palace can make it up by itself, that would be great. It's just that in the past few years in the north, the teleportation array and the treasures offered can be said to be astronomical. He wanted to let go of such a piece of fat, and those subordinates would not easily leave. There is also the huge expenditure of the land boundary, which requires the treasures of the heavens, and the price of recruiting the strong is too high. Moreover, among the native emperors, it is very difficult for the emperor, who is against the sky, to appear, and the scenes of ordinary strength are unstoppable. The strength of Venerable Blazing Fire is actually quite good. He is one of the best in Liuzhou, but he was killed instantly. This shows the difference. Now he is going to invite a powerful emperor to be born, and he can't leave it to the palace of the elders. This time he specially sent to Zhangzhou, North Head, just for this matter. Guangmu. In ancient times he was called the Tianzuan. This is the real top emperor. Can be listed as 108 divine envoys, representing the characters of the gods. Among the sixth-order emperors, those are extremely heaven-defying existences. The North Head is Zhangzhou. When he was moved into the Temple of Qishan, Zheng's was a huge mountain range, full of hundreds of thousands of mountains, endless. And there was still a turbid air current in the mountain, and the ordinary people would quickly lose their way when they entered it. Only the strong who become immortals can live in it. Therefore, there are very few strong people living in Zhangzhou, and there are only 2 or 3 big cats and kittens in the sect, and even a decent strong person has never been out. All this is actually due to the existence of Guangmu Tianzuan. The threshold of the chaotic airflow he left in Zhangzhou is too high, and there is no commonplace. Most of the strong people living here are strong from outside, who have come to take refuge here. As for survival here, it is impossible. And the place where he lives is in the depths of the air current. In the depths of Zhangzhou, on a lofty sacred mountain, there is an ancient hall. This is the dojo of Guangmu Tianzuan. Here the airflow is very thin, and it is clearly visible in the hall, without any muddy air. Bai Yi fell precariously. This Dharmakaya did not fight the battle, the ordinary white robe he wore. But the tall and straight body was not so beautiful, but very strong. Let me tell you that the book reading app I'm using recently, Mimyriad app, has a lot of sources, a full range of books, and fast updates. Brother Guangmu, don't you welcome me so? Bai Yi leaked a smile, looking at the closed hall. Click. The main hall slowly opened, and a burly man who was running dark gold walked out of it. His eyes were sunken, his nose was high, and his jaw was wide. Bai Yi. After the two looked at each other, each showed a strong momentum. Guangmu Tianzuan was slightly surprised and said, "You don't think that you can defeat me with a Dharma body?" Haha, Brother Guangmu is too admirable, and I'm not here to talk to you. Bai Yi smiled awkwardly. His Dharmakaya is really not a wide-eyed opponent. After all, the opponent is one of the 108 divine envoys. If you want to be so unbearable, wouldn't it be a shame for the owner to take it out? Before the fall of the gods, he specifically explained to a few of them that they must be treated kindly to these old men who have not fallen. They must not be suppressed or forced. If they leave, let them go at any time. There were indeed some people who were afraid of death and escaped a catastrophe, such as Wuxia. But Guangmu Tianzuan was different. He fell asleep in Zhangzhou after being injured and didn't participate later. When he woke up, the gods fell. He didn't want to go, and he didn't want to wait for the arrangements of the 4 halls. So he kept hiding in this hall. I don't know how many years have passed. Come in. Guangmu reached out his hand and made a pleased gesture. After all, it was something left by Qishan, and he wouldn't be too much, although he still had the arrogance of the past. The two entered the hall and took their seats. Bai Yi went straight to the point and explained the current situation. The true spirit is revived, the highest trial is opened, and the patriarch's palace is established. As for the surprise change in Liuzhou, it is all trivial, which is not worth mentioning. When Guangmu Tianzuan heard the real spirit resurrecting, he inherited many memories of Qishan, His eyes were a little moist. As the messenger of the gods fell but did not stay with his old man. These years he has been living in guilt, so that he could not leave Zhangzhou. I'm afraid of meeting acquaintances and being laughed at. You know, back then, the 3 major gods of the progeny of the gods have all fallen, and the 18 gods will not be spared. The fallen, and the severely injured and sleeping, have not been able to recover until now. Among the gods he was spared alone. At the beginning, the gods fell, and the gods were unwilling to live, and all followed the gods to settle in the tomb of the gods and set up their graves. Looking at him again, he is alive now. There is nowhere to die if he wants to die. Bai said the key at first sight, and immediately made a request to come out of the mountain. Brother Guangmu, the highest trial is to find the inheritor for the master. This is the rule set by the master at the time. Now that the trial is opened, it is about to enter the 4 secret realms. But the secret realm is turbulent, which is not suitable for the trial. Practice. Don't look at Bai Yi's impulsiveness at ordinary times. The chi-oriented heart in his body is not fake. He also has the wisdom that Xianyi has. Hearing the death of the god, Guangmu Tianzuan was really moved. Guangmu was surprised at first. The 4 secret realms are turbulent? Yes. Bai Yi watched a play, and quickly continued. As soon as the world has just stabilized today, in Liuzhou, great changes have occurred. The teleportation array has been destroyed, and the main hall of the branch hall represents the facade of the gods. There was a rampage on the spot, as well as the realm. Not long ago, the forest of 10,000 treasury was turbulent, and almost destroyed the entire realm. It was resolved by Master True Spirit himself, but it didn't take long before the heaven realm had a problem. With that said, Bai Yi couldn't help but lower his head, and began to curse that he was useless, because the things the master entrusted to him back then were not done well. Chapter 53:26. Fleeing, the strongest power began to spread throughout the ancient boat, and the fisherman sitting on the boat stood up directly. Let's go. The voice of the old man with goat horns was deep. Glancing back, taking another look at the people below, Jian Wushuang withdrew his gaze. This place would soon become ruins, and even the entire Liuzhou would be engulfed. Boom! The void shattered, and the power erupting from the ancient boat made the surrounding mountain ranges tremble. When the people below looked up in confusion, the ancient boat was still in place, but Jian Wushuang and the old man with goat horns were actually millions of miles away. This speed had exceeded the limits of space, even challenging the Tier 6 Emperor. It was beyond ordinary comprehension. However, the old man with sheep horns still felt pressure, emanating from within the city of Sheruo. The sun and moon shone brightly, 2 huge suns radiating light, spreading from Sheruo city, shaking the entire Liuzhou. Jian Wushuang turned his head to look back. In the dazzling light, there was a small black dot behind them. With a slight movement, his gaze deepened. It's him. That small black dot was none other than the Tier 6 Emperor, manipulating a damaged palace, trailing behind them. Although his speed was slower than theirs, he had not allowed the distance to widen. Jian Wushuang had sensed some intentions from the other party long ago, and now, trailing behind them, it raised suspicions in him. The teleportation array was destroyed, and there was a sudden upheaval in Liuzhou. The hidden secrets were probably related to his arrival, and had a connection with that formidable figure from the demonic path. The ancient boat sped quickly. In just the time it took to brew a cup of tea, it had already left the scope of Shangqing Palace. At this moment, Shangqing Palace was fully prepared, with several eternal treasures rising into the air. Who would have thought that just an hour ago, Shangqing Palace was still in a state of peace, with comings and goings. And now they had to flee directly. Venerable Laihua had fallen, and Sheruo city had been destroyed. The entire Liuzhou was going to be destroyed in an instant. Is this the ancient era? Indeed, it was brutal. You little devil from the demonic path. Yen Sanmu instantly turned around, and a third eye appeared fiercely on his forehead. Innate beast eye. No wonder he was named Yen Sanmu. Jian Wushuang momentarily looked dazed. In the sky, a giant human-shaped antelope appeared, its horns piercing through the heavens. You go on the ancient boat first. I still need to take someone with me. Yang Sanmu left behind these words. Before he could move, the avatar had already retreated hundreds of millions of miles. Just a moment ago, Wu's avatar shattered, and that avatar fell in Shero City. Through the communication token, he had instructed Yin Sanmu in Shangqing Palace to take away a Dao lord of the Broly clan. Now there was no choice but to go back. The ancient boat was entirely manipulated by the fishermen. Even after the old man with the goat horns left, the speed did not diminish. Jian Wushuang had no idea whom the old man with the goat horns was going back to fetch. Before he could inquire, the figure disappeared within the space. He casually took out a jade slip. Damn it! Jian Wushuang couldn't help but curse inwardly. Now behind him, there were many emperors fleeing, and their speed was not slow. He had already encountered several. With so many people fleeing together, they were bound to be caught up with. Although he didn't know who the terrifying presence that destroyed Liuzhou was, he could sense the unparalleled horror in the opponent's aura. Once encountered, it would be death. The target was too conspicuous. He couldn't escape with this group of people. Understanding this, Jian Wushuang immediately commanded the fishermen, "Go to North Muzhangzhou." Heading north to Hanzhou was close to the border of Liuzhou, but also more likely to be caught up. It was better to change direction and go to North Muzhangzhou, where a truly extraordinary powerhouse sat in command. Although not on good terms with the temple, they wouldn't stand by and watch others desecrate North Muzhangzhou. The fisherman standing at the bow of the boat paused for a moment, then, as per Jian Wushuang's instructions, adjusted the direction. It would take at least a whole day to travel from this location to North Muzhangzhou. Daoist Liu Yang, who was following behind, manipulated the damaged ancient hall. Seeing the slight adjustment in the direction of the ancient boat, his eyes flickered. "Elder, are we not going to Hanzhou?" Zhu Bachi asked cautiously. Liu Yang nodded slightly and said, "Hanzhou is too close. Even if we go there, it's still fleeing. It's better to go to North Muzhangzhou, where there is the suppression of Guangmu Tianzuan. No one can offend there." Guangmu Tianzuan, a Tier 6 emperor who survived from ancient times, a former one of the 108 divine envoys who followed Qixin. Later, he settled in Qixin Temple, but did not get along with the four temples. He had been sitting in his own lair in North Muzhangzhou ever since. "Hihi, aren't you very interested in the golden sword? The kid in front has 12 golden swords in his hands." Liu Yang Daoist said with a sinister smile. 12 golden swords. Don't mention a Dao Lord sword cultivator. Even a Tier 4 emperor would be envious. Could it be? Zhu Basha quickly caught on. However, what he knew was only about killing and looting. Just now, when the old man with goat horns left, the two of them paid careful attention. Now on the ancient boat in front, there was only Jian Wushuang. A Dao Lord, no matter how extraordinary, could he contend with a Tier 5 emperor? Zhu Bachi, being a giant in the demonic path, naturally carried a demonic nature in his temperament. He didn't care about the opponent's identity or background. As a Tier 5 emperor, Daoist Liu Yang valued not the golden swords on Jian Wushuang's body, but Jian Wushuang himself. If he could capture Jian Wushuang alive and hand him over to that senior, he might receive substantial rewards and even have the opportunity to advance to the Tier 6 emperor. And that ancient boat, he also coveted its existence, a top-tier spatial treasure. Its speed far exceeded that of an ordinary Tier 6 emperor. Many Tier 5 emperors did not possess such a rare eternal treasure. How could he not covet it? With the shock in Liuzhou, the death of an inheritor would probably go unnoticed. Liu Yang's face revealed a killing intent, and his speed increased once again. The ancient boat's speed was fast, but it was stable. Without the presence of the old goat-horned man, although the speed hadn't changed, it had lost the crucial element of security. Looking back again, the small dot behind had disappeared. Just as Jian Wushuang was about to relax, a dazzling black light suddenly struck. Boom! The dazzling light struck the ancient ship directly, producing a terrifying buzzing sound. Jian Wushuang's ears buzzed, and he only reacted after a while. Raising his eyebrows and looking back, Luyang's damaged ancient palace had somehow reached in front of him. In just a short while, it threw him behind again and rushed to the front. Although this terrifying attack could not harm him temporarily, his heart power was anxious. Hastily sending a message to the old goat-horned old man, Jian Wushuang found that the identity token had been locked. This crisis was too immense. Jian Wushuang didn't know what to do for a moment. The old goat-horned man had been gone for half a day, and there was still no sign. A bad premonition arose in Jian Wushuang's heart. If young Samu were to fall, he would be truly finished. The identity token was ineffective again. He could only rely on the aura of the ancient boat, praying that the old goat-horned man could find him. As for the sneak attack by Taoist Luyang, he had to rely on the ancient boat to endure it. Although he had a top-tier innate treasure armor, and a body that underwent eternal indestructible 10 refinements, facing a peak tier 5 emperor was a different matter. Chapter 53:27. This caused the group of city lord mansions, who were looking after the teleportation formation, to almost fall to the ground. The emperor who was sitting here in the temple directly sent the headquarters, and was so scared that he did not dare to go out. There are 2 emperors of the 6th order, and there are more than 100 powerful men, who can rival the emperors of the 6th order. This force was enough to smooth out several nearby states. Bai and they were hiding well. The emperor of the Yuan Palace didn't notice it at all. And at this time they rushed to Liuzhou. Didn't stay here at all. Got out of the city, directly rushed towards Liuzhou. Among these people, Guangmu also knew a lot, and he even looted a lot of them personally, and many of them were defeated by his men. Watching these people leave, Bai shook his head. These mindless people. No matter how many people go to Liuzhou now, they can't find Jian Wushuang, because they walked out of the direction. Jian Wushuang fled from the southeast towards this big city, obviously looking at the map. It's also close to Hanzhou, but the city of Hanzhou is much farther than this one, and there are no strong people in Hanzhou. The reason why Jian Wushuang fled towards Baimazhangzhou, I'm afraid he also knows the existence of Guangmu Tianzuan here. Bai quickly promoted Jian Wushuang's idea. It is a pity that the strong man in the Yuan Lao Palace has not considered this at all. He can't contact Jian Wushuang now, and can't find Yang Samu, so he can only plunge into Liuzhou and search aimlessly. At the same time, outside Shero City, Wu's Dharma body exploded and fell, forming a huge barrier, trapping King White for an entire hour. That barrier consumes at least 3 eternal treasures of power. After the White King broke free, relying on that induction, his figure rose to the sky, turned into a streamer, and headed towards the north head of Zhangzhou. Jian Wushuang is already very close to the north eye of Zhangzhou. If it hadn't been for the Luyang Taoists behind him to keep attacking and stop Guzhou, he would have arrived in Zhangzhou now. Looking at the distance, it will take him at least half an hour to reach Zhangzhou, and then it will take another quarter of an hour to reach the largest city in Zhangzhou, Baimu, and the only city with a teleportation array, Beishan City. Taoist Luyang, you are not afraid that I will tell the people in the White Tiger Hall what happened today. By then, you will have no place to settle in the 4 great secret realms, and you will definitely fall. Jian Wushuang looked at the hall behind him and shouted loudly, Tao, if the opponent is not attacking, he can be faster. Just now, he felt a huge threat, as if a beast broke through the cage, and was attacking in his direction. He was really afraid that he would be overtaken by that terrorist existence before he reached Beishan City. The old man with horns has not returned. Either he has fallen, or is trapped by something. Now he can only rely on himself, keep pulling the banner, first scare the Taoist Luyang, or he won't even be able to sit on the teleportation formation. Now he is alone, no one protects him. How to face this 5th order peak emperor? Taoist Luyang stood outside the gate of the main hall with deep eyes, looking at Jian Wushuang and said frantically, You stinky boy, do you think the old man was scared? Even if you let the people of the temple chase me down, you have to survive and talk about it. Yang Samu has been trapped by him, and now he cannot protect himself. As long as he drags Jian Wushuang, or grabs Jian Wushuang, and dedicate him to the White King, he will be able to obtain countless treasures and be ranked 6th. At that time, I will find a hidden place and hide for hundreds of epochs. Everything has subsided. He is also a 6th-order emperor. He really doesn't believe that because of a Taoist monarch, the temple will chase and kill him, a 6th-order emperor. This account, the temple should be clear. And Jian Wushuang has no news now. Even if he is killed, no one knows that he did it. With sufficient confidence, he didn't believe in Jian Wushuang's style. Seeing that he can't move the other party, Jian Wushuang is not talking nonsense. The only thing he can do now is to pray for the old man to come back, or there is a peak power in Beishan City to answer him. Otherwise, once he stops, Taoist Liu Yang can attack him instantly and capture him alive. If he doesn't stop to take the teleportation array, he has been flying on the ancient boat, and he wants to return to the Zhongzhou Yuanlao Palace, which is estimated to be millions of years. Although Liuzhou is very close to Zhongzhou, according to the distance on the map, he can't reach it within 1,000,000 years. This doesn't work. If he arrives at Beishan City, and the old man with horns has not returned, he can only bite the bullet and continue to escape. Just got this idea. The fisherman at the bow of the boat flickered his eyes, turned his head and said stiffly, "The master has explained that, if necessary, I will block all threats for you." Hearing these words, Jian Wushuang was overjoyed. He didn't expect this unsightly fisherman puppet to have such a magical effect. Then I thought about it. The person behind is the 5th-tier pinnacle, and he immediately asked, "The man chased by the rear, the 5th-tier pinnacle emperor, can you stop it?" "I can resist 10 breaths," the fisherman replied stiffly. Jian Wushuang knew it, and immediately said, "Enough. 10 breaths." He had already sat on the teleportation formation and fled to Yuanyang Lake. He swears that the first thing after returning to Yuanyang Lake is to ask Wu's what to send him back to the primitive world. Never stay in the heavens for another quarter of an hour. This road is simply too scary. When he encounters such a strong person, he can't resist, and can only sit and wait for death. May not be able to escape. This is a very desperate thing. Running with speed and time, he soon arrived at Baima Zhangzhou. Somehow, after entering Baima Zhangzhou, the latent fear in his heart actually weakened a lot. There is still a quarter of an hour, and it will be here soon. Jian Wushuang put away his thoughts and kept his strength at the peak. The Madness and Slayer armor had appeared on his body. Beast God Domain also suddenly exploded in the next moment. A pair of huge wings opened and closed. He is ready to jump into the teleportation array at any time. Luyang Taoist behind him is more anxious than him. What is this kid thinking? He wouldn't think that I would dare not move him when entering Beishan City. When Taoist Luyang turned his mind, he turned his hand and took out a dark red pill, turned his head to look at Zhu Bacha and said, "If there is a change later, you can take this pill." With its magic power, you can use the 8-armed demon will stop Jian Wushuang for a moment. Hearing the 8-armed demon, Wishing Bacchus' eyes are hot, nodded heavily. The 6-armed demon is already comparable to the 13 great swords. The legendary 8-armed demon is much stronger than the Taya heritage. In the history of the Celestial Demon Gate, the Celestial Demon body that can display 8 arms can advance to the 6th-order emperor. He is a Taoist monarch who can barely use the 8-armed demon body. As long as he understands one of them, he can benefit infinitely. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 53:28. But when I thought I was facing the sword Wushuang of the heaven-defying Tao sovereign, I wish Bacha courageous and careful, and after accepting the pill, I began to prepare for the next battle. If there is no accident, Jian Wushuang will not stop. This is the best way. The one behind him can catch up quickly. Although he failed to catch Jian Wushuang alive, he was still able to lead the way and guide him to obtain a lot of treasures. If Jian Wushuang really has anything to rely on, and dares to settle down in this city, he will definitely leave it behind. As for the rumors of Guangmu Tianzuan, he also knows one or two, but he shouldn't be so unlucky. Liu Yang heart chassis calculated. The existence behind him can be reached in a quarter of an hour, and it is almost a quarter of an hour from Beishan City. There was a gap of 10 breaths in the middle. He only needs to stop Jian Wushuang for 10 breaths to complete the task. In his origin, a golden token was engraved with shadow and trembled. Soon. Jian Wushuang is also coming soon. You can reach Kitayama Castle in no time, and it's a desperate moment. The strength of the fisherman is not clear to him, but he can block the 6 breaths of Taoist Liu Yang, and he wants to come to at least the ordinary 5th order emperor level. There is still great hope for a puppet of this level, desperately resisting 10 breaths. The rest is up to his own good fortune. A group of pinnacle powerhouses in the Senate Palace in the southern Zhangzhou area, far away from them countless spaces, happened to pass by Jian Wushuang, and others out of their own perception. If Jian Wushuang had gone to Hangzhou, he might still meet, but now it seems unlikely. He can only pray silently, and Guangmu Tianzuan can take action. Rubbing the jade board on the thumb. Now I can only rely on it. As long as they are the peak powerhouses who have followed the gods, they should know this board. And as long as they see this board, they should all help. Boom. Without waiting for him to think, a black glare struck again, interrupting his thoughts and causing Gu Zhou to pause again. Jian Wushuang stabilized his figure, turned his head and looked back. His eyes became extremely sharp. Humph. A 5th order emperor. As long as he succeeds in the path, his combat power may be able to go straight to the 4th order emperor. With the strength of his space origin, it won't take long for him to enter the 5th level. With his origin, after becoming a 5th order emperor, Liu Yang, a 5th order emperor, can be killed by flipping his hand. As long as I can leave alive this time, I will avenge this revenge in the future. As long as he can leave alive and file a lawsuit against this attack, the Taoist of the 6 Sons will not escape death. Beishan Castle, an ancient city, stretches in the mountains, but it is much worse than Shero City on the power level. Regardless of the fact that there is a 5th-tier emperor sitting in the city, but on the top of the moat, it is a lot behind Shaluo City. After all, it belongs to the barren land, and there are no ordinary people. There are only some emperors and powerful people who take refuge, and Taoists rarely come here. Since the strong men of the Yuan Lao Palace left here, the strong men in Beishan City heard about Liuzhou and fled one after another. It's just that most of these people are emperors wanted by the temple, so they dare not go to other big states, so they can only flee toward the depths of Zhangzhou. The control of the temple here is only a teleportation formation, and the rest is ignored. This is also a face for Guangmu Tianzuan. The emperors are Taoists who still dare to stay in the city. Most of them are dead pigs who are not afraid of boiling water, and are holding a fluke in their hearts. Liuzhou is shocked, and everyone who escaped went to Hangzhou. And the source of the shocking change in Liuzhou? I don't know what it is now, but I heard that a terrifying existence appeared and killed Venerable Agni. Afterwards, Shero was rampant in Shero City, destroying all the teleportation formations in Liuzhou. This is obviously coming with a purpose. As long as you don't go to Liuzhou, don't you dare to come to Baima Zhangzhou to make trouble. Although Baima Zhangzhou is wild, and there is no decent powerhouse, the name of Guangmu Tianzuan resounds throughout the Northern Territory, and its strength ranks among the top superpowers in the Northern Territory. No matter how crazy the other party is, they won't come here to find it boring. The current situation is different from what these people think. In the muddy sky, a touch of black ancient boat shuttled. The emperor in the city, when he first saw Gu Zhou, he didn't react. The next moment Gu Zhou arrived in front of him. This speed exceeds the limit of space, and it is almost time to touch. Gu Zhou had just entered Beishan City, and Liu Yang Taoist followed him. I really stopped here. It seems that this kid really has something to rely on. Taoist Liu Yang glanced coldly at the city. The city lord is just an ordinary 5th order emperor, and he doesn't dare to make mistakes before him. The emperor who is stationed here in the temple is only tier 4. Even if he is killed, he will hide for hundreds of epochs at most, spend some treasures, and get rid of sin with just a few clicks. When the teleportation formation was still 1,000,000 miles away, Jian Wushuang roared, "It's now, stop him!" After leaving these words, his figure flashed directly off the ancient boat, and the tin-linked flesh body broke out completely, turned into countless dark lines, and flew towards the teleportation formation. Thousands of bodies, this is the super-quality body. At the limit, his origin and divine body can be cut into countless pieces. Even if the emperor wanted to kill him, it was not that simple. His figure just left Guizhou. The fisherman's figure changed, and he drew a long knife from his back. Facing the Luoyang Taoist who came after him, he was not afraid of death. Say 10 breaths, then 10 breaths. The ancient boat was cast in ancient times, and the fisherman was obtained from the wind demon. The strength is comparable to the fifth-order emperor, and he is not afraid of death. At the beginning, the 3 eyes of the sheep brought him, and he was going to be a for the younger generation. Later, in a disaster, he put the fisherman on the ancient boat, and completely became a fisherman. Luoyang Taoist saw the fisherman standing in front of him, and jumped down from the mutilated hall. "Go and stop Jian Wushuang, give me 3 breaths." His voice is very confident. As long as 3 breaths, he will kill the puppet in front of him. In the mutilated hall, the black mist is missing and bursts out of the air. The fisherman wanted to stop, but the 6-armed celestial demon, turned into a Taoist priest, smashed it open. "Blow me." The heavenly demon turned into by the Taoists of the 6 suns towered thousands of miles away, shattering the void with one punch, and with 6 arms, it threw out tens of thousands of punches in an instant. The fisherman's violent swordsmanship was difficult to resist, but after a few punches, the treasures on his body were shattered. Luoyang Taoist sneered, and all 3 breaths were long, and 2 breaths were enough. How could a puppet who didn't even have the eternal treasure, and his combat power was weak and pitiful, how could he stop him? At the next moment, the 6-handled demon cone appeared in his hand, shining brightly with infinite light. It's the 6 suns, hidden in the city lord's mansion. The city lord of Beishan, who did not dare to come out, saw the battle in the sky, revealing a look of surprise. Luoyang's combat power is terrifying. Although it is of the same rank, the strength is much worse. He can't stop it when he goes out. He can only appeal, and wait for the people from the temple to come. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 53:29. At the same time, Jian Wushuang was already outside the teleportation array, yelling while running away. "Isn't the inheritor of the Tomb Mountain? I will confess to the White Tiger Temple quickly, and come to rescue." Hidden in the dark, Bai Yi and Guangmu Tianzuan looked at each other, and laughed secretly. It's this time still pulling the banner. This inheritor is really afraid of death. When Guangmu was about to say something, when he looked at Jian Wushuang carefully, he found the pale green jade board, and his eyes shrank suddenly. This is... Bai Yi next to also noticed this. The two of them couldn't believe it, especially Bai Yi. How could the personal things of the gods appear here? And they are still in the hands of an inheritor. If he remembers well, this board should have entered the tomb of God with the ambiguity. How would it appear here? Looking at the aura above, the two of them confirmed that it was definitely something of a god. How could he have this thing? Both said at the same time. Guangmu Tianzuan wondered how Jian Wushuang would have it. Could it be a disciple of Qixin? But isn't the highest trial just beginning now? No matter how fast it is, I will never give the personal things of the gods to a Taoist monarch. Bai wondered how this board was born, and it clearly entered the tomb of the gods. Could it be that? He secretly guessed that he thought of the revival of the true spirit, and had been to the tomb of the gods several times. And he almost cursed when he thought of this. Are there not enough treasures in the temple of Qixi? Didn't even let go of the old master's body, as expected. He had a rebellious heart. Guangmu was just beside him. He didn't dare to swear after this time. He must go to the Sea of Origin, and ask the real spirit what is going on. I don't have any old faces anymore. One person dominates the Sea of Origin, enjoying all day, changing trials at will. Not to mention these. Now even the tomb of the gods dare to move. Is there still a king's law? What's the identity of this person? The matter of the tomb sacred mountain, Guangmu didn't know at all. Bei's expression changed. And it was not easy to answer for a while, because he didn't know it too much. To ask Zhu Yi, he was responsible for the primitive world. At present, the inheritors have not yet been screened, and they have not yet settled in the 4 secret realms. This inheritor can be here, but he knows the reason, but he doesn't know his identity. He could only say vaguely, I heard that it had something to do with Shanjun, and he was moved to the 4 secret realms by the real spirit. When the two chatted casually, Jian Wushuang had already arrived at the teleportation formation. With a wave of his hand, he took out a few treasures, all of which were worth about tens of thousands of sacred stones. Quickly open the teleportation array, you can go anywhere. He didn't idle while talking, and went straight to the teleportation array. But these emperors don't eat this set. Although the city was in chaos, and the emperors were fighting, they did not dare to let anyone go without the above order. Especially, Jian Wushuang, a Taoist monarch they stopped. If it were the two in the sky, they might have to do it. An enchantment blocked Jian Wushuang's path, and a black-clothed emperor stopped him in front of him. Xiao Daojun, dare to speak wildly, take it for me. Jian Wushuang's face was fierce. Seeing that the fisherman was about to be unable to hold it, the broken hall behind him also chased him up. But he was stopped. It only takes a breath, he can be teleported away. And now he is not sent to the teleportation array. He couldn't speak when he was angry. Boy, I have already sent a message to the temple. They said that there is no such person as you at all. So you will be honest. When they came to the palace of the elderly, they reported to the White Tiger Hall. But he was stopped by Bai Yi in advance, and asked them to block the teleportation formation, so that no one could let go. Now that Gu Zhou is gone, Jian Wushuang has nowhere to escape. Only the teleportation array can help him escape. You're looking for death. Jian Wushuang roared, and the long sword made from the source appeared in his hand. There is a black emperor, but he is really not afraid of second-order combat power. Facing a Taoist monarch, he was actually threatened, and the emperor in black was also angry and shouted, arrogant. Standing in the incomplete ancient temple, Zhu Bacha saw all this, and was secretly happy. Now he doesn't need him to stop him, but he still went down to the ancient palace, ready to take the opportunity to attack Jian Wushuang. He didn't dare to be careless. If Jian Wushuang escaped, he wouldn't be able to explain, and Jian Wushuang still had 12 golden swords on him. After feeling that only Zhu Bacha appeared behind him, Jian Wushuang calmed down. Fighting with this emperor now is very unfavorable to him. If it weren't for being chased by someone, he would really want to kill the Black Emperor with a single sword. The opponent's spatial origin is not as powerful as him. Although his kendo origin is not yet complete, he is still very confident in dealing with this kind of half-hanging emperor. This kind of second-order emperor still relies on the treasure to pile up, and it is no different from those first-order emperors outside. Now his combat power is 10,000 times divine body, super grade 10 refined physical body, and the ultimate kendo has reached the 7th level, which can be the level of harmony. Jidao even stepped into the 6th level, and the power of swallowing reached its peak. There is no threat under the emperor. Among the emperors, in the 4 great secret realms, it is difficult for the emperor of the 3rd order to threaten him. Facing the emperor in black, Jian Wushuang let out a cold snort and instantly turned around, killing Zhu Bacha, who was backward. Yep, I wish Bacha was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect Jian Wushuang to even dare to look back, and immediately exploded and revealed the incarnation of the 6-armed demon. The divine body also exploded to 10,000 times, a level equivalent to Jian Wushuang. But his physical body, although incarnate as a 6-armed demon, it is only at the level of a high-grade physical body, and Jian Wushuang is not at the same level. Not to mention the origin, it is nothing short of it. Dead. Heaven's penalty came in an instant, and a sword rushed into the sky. I wish Bacha hard to resist. 6 arms burst, and none of them can stop. How can he be so strong? Wow. He didn't expect to fight head-on. He couldn't hold Jian Wushuang's move. The dorsal fin was surging. He swallowed the dark red pill in one mouthful. And instantly 2 arms grew again. 8-armed demon. The divine body and the physical body doubled again. But the origin remains the same, and the improvement is limited. Fortunately, it was difficult to block this sword. The next moment before he could react, Jian Wushuang had already arrived behind him, and he hadn't even noticed his strange body and speed. An arm passed through his chest. Swallow. Jian Wushuang clenched a fist and swallowed it like a flood, rushing into Zhu Baka's body, breaking it down instantly. Kill this kind of guy. He has used 2 tricks to give the right face. If he knew he could still improve, he would have rushed forward and smashed Zhu Baka's head with a punch. The Emperor in Black who was watching this scene was terrified, and the next moment several emperors rushed out to guard the teleportation formation. Wow! A large number of origins were swallowed by Jian Wushuang. And by the way, an ancient magic attack was decomposed from the origins of Zhu Baka. https://mobile version reading URL. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.